Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 13 of the Information Paradise podcast. Today we have Rad, a DJ by night. Give us a little introduction of yourself, your separate self.
Oh, the self. The character is
Yes.
DJ. Um, not a lot, but it's once in a while. An adventurous, a seeker, a Nonduality fanboy is what I loves.
Yeah.
Nonduality. It's my favorite topic.
I call
And
myself a spiritual nerd sometimes.
oh, nice. I like that one.
Yeah, it's cool.
I really like that one. Um, did a whole bunch of things in seeking from meditation to yoga to more meditation to DJing. It's all the same. It became an obsession. The word enlightenment. Enlightenment became like an one that I wanted to attain. A character I wanted to attain so much that it was willing to do anything and everything to get to that point. And even following enlightened gurus and teachers and constantly hitting a wall. Every time, like, okay, meditation's not getting me there, yoga's not getting me there. Why don't I do this and do that and do this and sabotage, self sabotage? What if I get there? What if I suffer? What if I have a lot of
Mm.
pain? Kind of like some of those, in uh, in India, they have that. They have a lot of people that would walk the earth. What if I become isolated? What if I disappear? It's just many different aspects of that. Or and then I realized it's just a character that likes playing different characters. It's just character after characters after characters. It's like a character actor that has different, DJ sometimes, and some wants to be want to be author and want to be blogger, want to be teacher, want to be this and that, and none of that is real. It's just a character. I'm just going to plug in my like it's about to die here. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. And by the way, we can cut anything. We can play with time.
Oh,
I'm sat there. I'm sat there lying in my bed, just playing with time.
playing with
And
time.
yeah,
Yeah.
like
I think that I was talking to Nola about this. I even got a tattoo to remind me to be aware all the time. I got this tattoo called I don't know if it's a small one, but it goes love without conditions, so that anything that comes, you don't put any conditions to it. You love what is. It is almost like a
that's
reminder. It was kind of like a reminder, like, but not it that did not work because I glimpses many times, in this so-called journey, which is not really a journey, because you're already there. It, glimpses, seeing everyone as me, glimpses, kind of like everything, kind of like euphoric sometimes, kind of like, and then when it happened, it was like, oh, this is it. It's it's really humbling, and it's just really kind of like really plain and also profound. Like the color blue is really when I can like had an awareness of the color blue. I'm like, this blue is really beautiful. Anyway, I'll just keep on going. That's the character. The character likes exploring. Is a seeker that thought would never stop seeking until it stops seeking altogether.
all right.
Yeah.
So, introductory quick fire round. I'd like to begin our discussion by acknowledging that discussions on non-duality are often very confusing because there are many words that we use and different words mean different things to different people. So we're going to quickly define what we mean by 19 words here. So, so duality.
Duality is the opposite of non-duality.
Dun, 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 dun.
But
All right. Next question. Nah, okay, right. Well,
duality is like two things, kind of like it's like light and dark. opposing things, good and evil, you and I, opposites, yeah.
And so the definition that I like of duality is reality equals not, or equals two. And the
That's
two,
nice.
yeah, because it's like the word duality is like dual and reality.
Yeah.
Dun, dun, dun. Okay.
Yeah.
Mind and matter. That is the foundation of our world culture, which is basically creating all the suffering, because it's us against them.
Apparently.
Yeah. Could you explain what you mean there?
Think about here we go. Mind, does it really exist? Is it really real?
Okay.
Is it a thought? Is it a concept?
Could you say it in a different way?
Okay. It's an idea. It's I don't know how to explain it. It's because I know what mind means. You know what I'm saying? In a dualistic, thing, but in a radical non-dualistic thing, it doesn't really exist. There's no mind. Does that make any sense? I know it doesn't make sense, and that's what's so hard about non-duality, especially the way that this character understands it is that perception of it is so different. It's almost like there's no mind, there are no thoughts, there are no feelings. What reality is something that does not disappear. So if you have a mind, it comes in and out, right? I'm being mindful right now. I'm being mindless right now. It comes in and out. Kind of like thoughts can like pop out, pop, like you'll have a thought about something, it comes out of nowhere. So it's not permanent. It's dualistic, right?
Yeah.
Kind of like feelings. I feel sad. I feel great. You know what I'm saying? But it's not permanent. You're not forever sad. You're not, eternally happy. It's a construct, or it's an illusion, because it's not real. So it's almost kind of like it comes in and out. And mind is the same thing. It's not. It's there. Sometimes you're kind of like, your mind is working. Sometimes you're kind of like, you wake up and the mind is, when you wake up from a sleep, you're kind of like, oh, it's not there yet, and it arrives all of a sudden. It pops in, kind of like a thought. Kind of like when you are waking up and like, what am I going to eat for breakfast? That's a thought, right? That's when the mind comes up. So it's not really there permanently. It's not real because it disappears. Does that make any sense? Okay.
Well, we're going to get onto mind and thoughts.
Okay.
In a second.
Okay.
All right. So then non-duality.
Non-duality is the one without opposites.
Whoa. Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
it actually means not to.
Yeah.
Not to.
Reality.
It comes from the word Advaita, which is a Sanskrit word, basically where non-duality comes from. So Advaita means not to. We'll stop right there, because it's hard to, because thoughts and interpretations of mind, non-duality will come, right? Let's just stop from there, saying that, it's without opposites, it's not to.
Okay. And then free will.
There's no such thing as free will. Free will is that idea that, it's actually been proven in neuroscience, and I think I've seen it in a video a couple times. Google Sam Harris, and there's another professor talking about it, about the non-reality of it. So it's a dualistic thought is free will.
What does free will mean?
Free will means that you have control, you know what I'm saying, of your thoughts and your wills and that kind of stuff. It's kind of like, this is a big topic, by the way, saying this is like an hour, 2 hours, kind of like, let's just What is
Yeah.
your understanding of free will? Because the understanding, I just want to simplify it that it doesn't exist. It's not. It's an illusion. If you look at your thoughts coming in, it's kind of like your heart pumping. Do you have any control of your heart pumping? It's like your blood, your lungs, or when you have to go take a pee. Do you have control of that? That's like, thoughts don't have control, but free will, right?
Hmm.
Yeah,
I think also
we could.
it depends. It depends what I means as well.
Yeah.
So yeah. And then what does determinism mean?
Determinism mean I'm not really so much particular with determinism, but there's a classical explanation of it that what your actions are determined by a cause or something from the past. So for example, if you are a um, what's a good example? Basically, it's determined. Your actions are determined by your conditioning or your past or where you kind of like there's a story about what's that who's that Greek mythology guy that killed his father and married his mom, the complex
Oedipus.
Oedipus, that's right. So that's an example of that, right? Or is it determinism or is it free will? For me, free will and determinism are the same, kind of like the two different sides of the same coin. This just an experience, it's just a thought as well. Does that
Okay.
make any sense? We can expand it on later if you like. This is supposed to be flash kind of thing, so not
Yeah. Yeah.
going for like an hour with it. But with that, for example, Oedipus, he, I think his father knew that he was going to. There was someone said that he's going to kill you and marry your wife. So he ended up giving his son to or leaving him somewhere. I can't really remember it perfectly. So this guy ended up kind of like growing up not knowing his father or his mother, ended up killing this guy randomly, and then ended up marrying the guy's wife, which is actually his mother. So he didn't really have a choice. It was determined. Does that make any sense?
Don't know.
Okay. Please
uh,
research it.
yeah, yeah. Okay. So, but yeah, we do have a question in the future,
Okay.
future about free will. So,
Okay.
all right. Good and bad. What does good and bad mean?
It's just made up. It's not real. Again, it's just something that is. If you look at nature, you know what I'm saying. If you look at, for example, a leopard or a predator or something, do you think that leopard or that lion or something is bad? It's something that is just an expression. Good and bad is just a concept of dualistic again, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
I would add. It's like what is good for the survival of something is good to that something, and whatever negates the survival of that something is bad.
Okay.
Oh man, it's fun, man.
It's
Okay,
isn't this a fun topic?
yeah, like it's gonna be a crazy video. All right, okay. So and now thought. What is thought?
Thought is just something that arises from nothing. It just pops in and out. It's coming from nothing. It's like for a lack of it's like a fart, so it just comes.
Oh man, yeah,
Just
I
comes
see what
from
you mean.
nothing. It's coming in and out. It's just like it appears and disappears. And when you're taking a shower, like all of these thoughts are kind of like coming. I'm like, what am I going to do this? And it's not even you. Your thoughts are not you. It's just arising from. It's like an illusory thing. It's almost like yeah. It's just pops in and out. It's nothing. It's it's just
So let's
random.
do
Yeah,
let's do an experiment. So
yeah,
let's think of a zebra.
yeah.
So everyone think of a zebra. So a zebra. And we like, how is it that that I can see a zebra, but I can't even see a zebra?
Yeah,
Crazy, right?
yeah, yeah. There's many different kind of like thought exercises. There's just, I think, neuroscience and a whole bunch of different things have studied thoughts, like where they come from in and out, and it's just really fascinating that they cannot even, you know, if they go on, I can't remember, I don't know which science it is, but they can't find, thoughts. They can't find even your ego, your mind. You know what I'm saying? Where's your mind? Where can you find it? Where's the biology of it? Where's the anatomy of it?
Yeah. Okay. And then emotion. What does emotion mean?
Oh, emotion is just expressions that are nothing as well. It just comes in and out. It's just an illusion. It's okay. I don't want to get too crazy, but since my Twitter is radical non-duality, so
You
let me get
can.
radical. Okay. Um, so it's kind of like the experience is kind of like being kind of like a mushy robot. You know what I'm saying? And it has all of these programmings and everything. And it's awareness, having an experience through this robot or something. I don't even want to go there because this robot is just an idea anyway. All of this is just an idea. None of it is true. The only thing that's true is one thing that we can't explain, right? And so emotions, going back to feelings, sorry, going back to emotions and feelings, it just comes in and out. It's like a thought. It's like if you look at thoughts, it's kind of like generated by the brain system, and then emotions feels like it's coming from the heart. It's like a function as well. It's like a beating of the heart. You know what I'm saying? It's like something that you can't really control as well. You can observe it, but when the ego or the mind or the apparent ego or the mind happens, we seem to get attached to it. Like for example, there's an example of your energy or your emotions. For example, if you broke up with the partner, or girlfriend, boyfriend, or whatever, and then you're really really sad for like for you eat pizza for like 3 4 days, you're kind of
Yeah.
like crying, and then that ex calls you back and tells you, David, I made the biggest mistake, I'm going to come over in an hour, you are the love of my life. And then of course your energy will change right away. You're like, oh, and then you clean up
That's
the
interesting.
room. So
Yeah.
those feelings, I'm saying, it's not really real, it's not permanent again. It's something that comes in and out.
Wow.
Yeah.
And
And then people
then,
people will ask, do you have controls of your feelings? Feelings will come regardless of what's happening, right? It doesn't matter that you're aware. There's still feelings of sadness that happens, but with being aware, or kind of like people that have awareness, are going to be more not attached to that feeling. It's kind of like, okay, I'm sad, so I'll allow that. You feel sad, but it doesn't become into this whole big dramatic thing. You know what I'm saying? Or
mm,
if it is too. You know what I'm saying? But there's no stickiness to it. There's no attachment to it. It just comes through. Like a feeling of sadness comes through, the same as the feelings of joyfulness and happiness. It comes through.
all right.
Yeah.
And then, what does knowledge mean? And theoretical and experiential. What is knowledge?
Experiential knowledge is something I don't want to go back into the words of the dualistic meanings of it, right? Because it's just confusing. But experiential knowledge is something that you gain when you are, through your experiences. What's your definition of theory knowledge?
I suppose like thought and yeah, conceptual.
Again, it's just mind stuff, right? It's just a lot of
Yeah,
like it's just a lot of definitions, a lot of interpretations, and it's just a lot of made up stuff.
yeah,
Does that make any sense? It's just made up stuff. A lot of this is just like think of the duality, view of a world as a very complex program. If you're into coding, right, it's a very complex program. It's beautiful, and but you can also see it as just a program. You can look at it, all this knowledge. I'm like, but this knowledge tells me this, and this knowledge tells me that, right? But if you erase all of that and then you just enjoy, allow things to be as it is, awareness as it is, then you can like understand it in a different way without analyzing it. The moment that we analyze it and we put theories and experience to it, it's just a thought again. If there's no past and there's no future, then these knowledge is almost like dragging things from the past that you think exists and placing it out there. When in reality,
yeah.
it's just nothing. You know what I'm saying? Okay.
Damn. Crazy, man. It's crazy stuff. uh,
It's like when you have this what the fuck moments, that's what it is. It's like what the fuck? Stay in that. Right? It's kind of like
yeah,
because it's almost kind of like letting go of any kind of like preconceived notions or any ideas that you have. That's what I got when I have this like what the fuck, and I'll be like, okay, there it is. There is the presence or awareness or whatever, right? It's kind of like obliterating the mind, the idea of the mind all the time because we have all of these ideas, we have all of these thoughts or knowledge of things. You know what I'm saying? And but in reality, that's if there's oneness, or I don't even want to use the word oneness, it's a beautiful word. If there is one reality, you know what I'm saying, then any of these dualistic things are just obstacles. They're barriers. They're the wall. You're the wall. It's just an idea. So all of these ideas, when they drop, and you just be, then you see how beautiful or majestic or humble, like a bead is, or anything. It's just your eyes wide open. You're like, okay, I'm experiencing this without any judgment. I'm experiencing things without any kind of preconceived notions. Um, I'm not basing it from this or that, or it's not this or not that. It's just what's happening. Sorry, I kept on again.
so we've got a fun one.
Yeah.
Time. What is time?
Time. I like the way that Alan Watts explains time. It's an illusion, of course, right? But this is not a big topic. This could be like a whole 2 hours of what time is.
Yeah.
So imagine this, saying that trying to get the mind kind of thing. There's no such thing as past or future, and you're like, how can that be when I'm remembering things from the past? And this is just it. This is what's happening right now. Imagine having a program that can generate past thoughts,
Damn.
by the way, or
Yeah.
a program that creates this kind of like thoughts about the future, all simultaneously happening right now. So there is,
Wow.
yeah.
Yeah.
So time is like, I don't want to put words, but like a combination of past, present, future, all happening at once.
Yeah. Dude.
It's just
That's
one event, right? So it's kind of like what happened. What about what happened yesterday? I'm like, is it happening right now? So that thought about yesterday is getting generated right now by this powerful illusory mind. And what's kind of like happening in the past is to put a weight on it or something. But it's almost kind of like it's a program that keeps on going and going and going and going and going and going. Right? It's just popping in and out. Like thoughts about the past is also just it's just like it's not real. Coming in and out.
one of one of the things I like to do, or one of my favorite sort of thought experiment ideas, is to set a timer on our phone for every minute for the next 24 hours and to check if it's still now. What do you think of that? I'm going to make a video about that.
I used to do a timer every hour for 10 minutes, but I would have to meditate to become in an hour or something. But that's still trying to control time.
What do you mean?
Trying to control time. Okay, so so the awareness process is not having any control, allowing things to be. Time happens, right? Time's happening right now, or whatever. It's not happening. So when you are controlling it, when you're putting a timer to it, you're still trying to make it real.
Yeah.
So you're not really in the now because you're trying to make it now. In about 10 minutes, I'm going to be in the now kind of thing. That's what I did too. But go ahead with it, you know what I'm saying? But it's also, it's contradictory to kind of like trying to say that there's no time. Time is just an idea as well. It's an idea. It doesn't really exist. It doesn't exist. It's a concept. But our thoughts are so magical, and mind is just so, it generates thoughts about the past and the future at the same time.
Yeah.
So right now you're trying to think of something about the past now. But
nah.
Okay.
No.
Because that's what I'm trying to do. Trying to test my my mind. But go ahead with the next question. Sorry.
Oh, yeah. It's good. Like,
or the way that I think I mentioned this to you earlier, that Alan Watts kind of like saying that when there's a big bang, I'm saying people think it's going forward, but what if it's just one event? You're a big bang. You're part of that. You're still a big bang. So why do you say that there was a big bang when you're still the big bang? You're still kind of like happening. The big bang is still happening. This is still a part of that. You know what I'm saying? Or not? It's the wholeness of it. I'm really, really bad at this sometimes, just to be honest. And sometimes I don't know anything. And most of the times I don't know anything. But I just like talking, I guess. It's kind of neat.
Yeah. You should be a rapper. At least you should rap this stuff. Yeah.
I just love the topic, but I don't know anything as well. I love the topic.
Yeah.
You got that?
Okay.
We don't know anything. It's just, these are just concepts and ideas, and it's great to talk. It's entertaining. I like when Alan Watts say that he's a spiritual entertainer. I really like that. I like that. Or I think if Alan Watts was, if there was a version of Alan Watts, he would probably be a rapper. You know what I'm saying? Talking about.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah.
So, what is death?
Death is another illusion.
Yeah.
It's another illusion. It's hard to describe it because you see that, seem to kind of like see death. You know what I'm saying? But if you are going to look at the world as an illusion, you're not going to see, well, that's not an illusion, but this is an illusion.
Yeah.
So when you say that this is a dream that you're going to see, but that's not a dream, that's the ending of a dream. Still a part of the dream, so it's an illusion.
Yeah, dude. People, yeah, I'm excited for more people to sort of know about this stuff. Blah blah blah. Yeah. Anyway.
Sometimes it might be a deterrent for some people to know this stuff because it gets so confusing and it's just so and I don't know, it's like I try to talk to my brothers about it and it just sometimes goes over their head, right? It just doesn't really, and it just gets so complicated sometimes. But I understand what you're saying. It's so nice to share this. I like it as just conversations. It's not like I'm not teaching. It's just like having a conversation about it, which is what I like. Yeah.
So
I guess I'm a non-dualistic conversationalist.
A non-dualationist or some shit.
Yeah.
So death. I think I want to.
It's an experience. Like everything is an experience, right? That's an experience as well. It's what's happening. It happens. It's awareness expressing itself. It expresses itself in life. It expresses itself in death. You can call people, the word God is so heavy. Awareness is heavy as well. So it's hard to, whatever word works for you or other people, right? So for you, it's some people would say it's God expressing, it's an expression. A friend of mine had a death, a stillborn, and that was really, really difficult. And the way that she saw it is, after healing, I guess, is that she said that if life is a canvas of a painting, that is like the darker shadows that makes the darker hues of the painting that makes it strike out more. So life becomes a bit more, like a complete picture.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's cool. Yeah. Also, because we are sort of, or like, it's apes talking about this, right? And so like, and obviously we're making this. Well, I'm making this for other apes, right? And so
that's an idea too.
I know.
Apes. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
What are apes really? If you look at everything that we are talking about, if there's no words, what's an ape really? If we did not put, ended up putting the word ape to that, whatever it is, it's not an ape. If you look at it, right? If we started putting names to all of these animals, but what if there's no name? What are they?
Yeah. And
you
also,
get that?
Also, we can zoom into anything forever and out of anything forever. So what is anything really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, go with your thoughts. Sorry, I interrupted you there. So you said apes kind of like talking to.
Yeah. So I'd like to recontextualize death for these millions of apes so that they can, communicate in a way where there isn't a subconscious fear of death. Because, dude, like, I'm sure in many places in this COVID-19 event, go to the supermarket, where's the toilet roll going? It's shooting out of the doors, the toilet roll. But, like, it all comes from this fear of death, which I'd love to recontextualize in a non-dualist way.
If you look at apes, going back to apes, right? Do they have fear of death?
Depends what you mean.
If you look at dogs, do they have fear of death?
Well, yes, right.
Do you think so? Do they think about it? Are they afraid of the COVID? Are they afraid of, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Of crossing, there's fear sometimes that you see with dog, you know what I'm saying? It's a reaction, right? But do they have that concept of death really?
I don't think they have the dread,
Yeah.
Like, yeah, no.
Yeah. So we have that, you know what I'm saying? But again, it's just a thought. It's just an idea again. It's just a concept. We have defined that to be this way, and so we have a lot of fear of it because it seems like it's the unknown. But once you know the unknown, Because what we're talking about is unknowable, and we're talking about it greatly. Non-duality is not knowable. Is it not the same as death? It's unknowable as well. It's the same thing.
I suppose what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to think of something unknowable. What do you think of that?
If you think of something unknowable, you can't think of something unknowable because your mind will not allow it. Your brain doesn't have the capacity to have the unknowable. It's almost like the biggest joke and biggest trick of all, right? This non-duality thing is because it's like when you get it, you're like, it's been there the whole time, or like, oh wow, it's so simple, or it's like it's so natural, and but it's still unknowable, and it's okay. It's like I don't know. It's so hard um, being on the spot for this because the character knows it. You know, what I'm saying the character doesn't know it. So the character that we have cannot know of the unknowable. We'll never get it. We'll never get enlightened. So David or Emerson or Rad will never get enlightened. Does that make any sense? Because it's just a
Yeah.
concept.
Yeah.
But what could happen is the seeking stops. The seeking stops,
Wow.
and then an understanding happens. And then anything that happens is just a yes, including death, because it's happening. It will happen. So it's just yes, and not having any kind of not having kind of what do you call it, attachment to it, not having a knowledge about it, or an experiential knowledge about it, or having ideas about it. It's just what is happening. So death happens, and it's just what's happening. Does that make any sense? It's just an allowance of things to happen. It's kind of like awareness is kind of like having letting go of that dualistic or judgmental brain that kind of like, okay, that's good or that's bad. I'm looking forward to that. I'm not looking forward to that. There might be some remnants of that in the character, but the awareness kind of like almost kind of like is aware that it's just not real. It's hard to talk about the truth when the mind cannot grasp it. The truth is so, it's like, okay, let me try to do an analogy of it. It's kind of like there's this massive universe, but your brain or capacity can only hold 10 gigabytes of it. But the universe is like a trillion gigabytes or something. So you have this, but if the brain kind of like is gone, you know what I'm saying, or the mind is gone, it's not like having access to the trillions of gigabytes, but there's no more. But you're aware that you're limited.
Mm-hmm.
But you're also not that brain. You are that. It's hard to explain. I would have to do that better. But it's just kind of like having a pinpoint of a camera, and there's this massive telescope, and you're just a pinpoint. You're seeing it, but you know that this character is a temporary thing. This character is temporary, but the awareness, the one that's seeing through this character, is permanent. There's no
Wow.
space, right? It's kind of like you're kind of like a cell phone camera, right? And you're just a camera moving around, walking around and different things, and but you don't know what's behind that camera, but you know that there's something that's watching the camera, and then you are that, not the character David, but beyond that character. Does that make any sense, or does that make it more complicated?
I don't know, but what we're doing here, David here, David is like a little guinea pig for the
No.
spiritual community. So so I don't have to get it, but
Okay.
so
I think you
yeah,
get it. I think
yeah. I
you get
mean,
it.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's thinking about it that's but because there are going to be many people who don't know what the fuck is going on.
No,
So
it's this is it's hardcore. I like hardcore stuff. I like the extremes, right? It's like the character anyway likes the extremes, likes the 10-day meditation without speaking, likes the extreme of like, well, I'll be going to a rave or a festival kind of thing. But now that this awareness has happened, I don't seek those anymore. The normalcy of things is fascinating to me now, right? The whatever happens is fascinating to me now. The character will try to keep on playing, but there's an awareness of that it's just a character playing. It's just it's almost like I'm seeing the seer,
okay.
and there's no more separation. So this experience right now, for example, I'm looking at the screen. Um, it's not different from my hand right now. You're not different from my hand right now. It's like it's so surreal. It's like me talking, or it's just awareness talking to each other. It's just an expression. It's just a beautiful kind of like a. It's this energy, and then there's a rising of things. Like when you close your eyes at night and you wake up. When you wake up in the morning, the world gets recreated again. It's think of it as a super advanced computer, your system, that when you open up, everything is regenerated.
Wow. Yeah. Okay.
Everything is kind of like, if everything is like, it's mind blowing, this stuff. When I started kind of like thinking it, I'm like, oh, my mind is the jail. Mind is the trap. So when you let go of your mind, when you subtract that, is what I talk about on Twitter, is when you subtract that, when you delete it, not subtract it, take it out of the equation, your thoughts, your mind about things, and things get clearer without an explanation, without any kind of um, agenda, without kind of everything just becomes simple. And also, when I thought about what enlightenment was before, I thought it was going to be angels, and not angels, but something magical, something kind of like something epic. Like all of a sudden someone will say that, oh, you've reached nirvana or something. Welcome to this gate or something. No, 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 it's not like that. Or it's just, we're looking at something that is so natural, but it's also already magical. Like we are in a planet that is floating in space. We have gravity. We have air. Um, there's, I don't know, just many different characters around in this, and it's just the glass, the bead. One bead is so magical. If you look at it for, I'm like, oh wow, you can get lost in things, and um, looking at a flower, kind of like walking, or I got this from Tony Parsons, and Tony Parsons said that kind of like when he realized that every step is different,
Wow. Yeah.
or
What does
or
he mean?
every single footstep that you do is different. You'll hear a different crunch. It's almost like a fingerprint. It's so magically constructed. There's so much magic in everything that is normal. Like when I look at my dog, I'm just amazed. Like, he's just like
Yeah.
smile. It's like a little advanced kind of like robotic thing. That's just like, it's, but in flesh and blood, and also an illusion. Um, the emotions and the awareness as well, or how people, or I was in Haida, and I was just watching the window. I was like in a beautiful beachfront place for yoga, and there's this crane, there's this birds, there's this eagles, like 10 eagles and cranes and everything, and it's just looking at the different places. It's like a wonderful movie that's just happening, but it's just so normal, but it's also so magical. Or actually just sitting on a subway and just watching everybody interact, and it's just this
Yeah. Yeah.
magic
Yeah.
illusion. I don't know, I'll keep on going, but I just wanted to share that with you. It's something that is bound to happen for you, because it's for everybody. because that's who you are. So seeking it is kind of like being seeking it is almost kind of like it's almost going kind of like going the opposite way because you're not allowing it. It's kind of like trying to control it. Does that make any sense? But if you just stay in the moment, and just allow things without any kind of judgment or thoughts, it's just happening. It's so impressive that you're 19 years old and you're already in this. When I was 19, I have no idea of
Yeah.
anything. I was I kind of knew when I was younger and it disappeared. When I think I asked one of my early recollections as a child was I asking my parents, "Why did you bring me here?"
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
why did you
Wow.
bring me here? And then I went into when they say that when you awaken, you like sleeping sometimes, and it's just it was just like a deep sleep, for quite a while in my 20s until no, not my 20, not my mid 20s. And then I was kind of like walking around. I'm like, what's the point of all of this? It's got to be something better than this. And that's when the seeking got stronger again. There's got to be something better than this because um, I think I thought that life at that time, I think I was like 24, was just getting into a career, um, getting a place or a house, finding a partner. You know what I'm saying? Marrying. And
Mm.
then when I got all of that, I'm like, okay, so what's the point of all of this? It's like,
Yeah.
is
Wow.
this it? And 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 then the seeking kind of like just got I'm the kind of the character that is me is kind of like if it focuses on something, it will do it nonstop until it gets it. So that relentless character was really really great too. And also I can like wonder, I should talk to other about this. It's like there are probably a lot of people out there that gets it without even knowing what Advaita or non-duality is. They just
Mm.
get it. They just
Yeah.
get it. There's a lot of awakeness or kind of like not having any background. Sometimes, I have a friend actually. This is really fascinating. One of my best friends and really, really good guy. He's just phenomenal guy. He is super smart, and I showed him a clip of I think it was Kyle's clip for about 10 minutes. He doesn't have any background in spirituality. He doesn't even have any background in. He's just a really smart guy. Figured it out in 10 minutes.
Wow. Yeah.
And then we spent like 2 weeks just laughing and talking about. I'm like, oh, wow, this is it. I feel really great. I don't have any more of that heaviness or that, and um, and he got it right away, 10 minutes without any knowing who Ramana is or Nisargadatta is or not even knowing what non-duality is, but just got it in an instant. And and now I wonder, maybe he's gotten it all along. He just gets it, without any of this, without any kind of like again, knowledge can sometimes be a big wall to this because you're like, well, according to this teacher, this is this way, and according to that teacher, this way. And when in reality, it's everything is just a construct. Everything that I'm saying is also a construct. I don't know anything as well. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't really know. I feel it. I understand it. Even maybe even those words are wrong. There's an awareness of the awareness. There is a witness now. I understand that that's the deepest part of the deepest reality of me is that the thing that doesn't disappear with me is will never go away, will never die, will never judge. Is the deepest unconditional love that you could think of that we can't even think of the deepest part of this unconditional love because it's unknowable, but that's who you are.
Now, object slash subject.
It's like the non-duality, duality thought about it is kind of like, I have this phone, so it's kind of like it's a dualistic thing, right? There's no subject and no object really because it's just one. So that's actually the divisive part of, it's kind of like, I I have a cup, what I'm saying, rather than saying that I, when it stops at I, not the character I, but the I that Ramana Maharshi talks about, or Nisargadatta Maharaj talks about, the I that is everything. So when I did that meditation, there is no chair, there is no cup, there is no me, there is no you. So there's no subject and there's no object. It's an invented part of our language. When language came, the duality got a little bit more pronounced. Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you take away all the words, that's why I like repeating the same message over and over again. If we take away the words, the thoughts, the ideas, the messages, the perception, the definition of things, then we don't really have a problem with non-duality. We get it right away. It's like, okay. It's kind of like um, an understanding. It's like understanding something that you've understood for a long, long time, that you've always understood. It's like finding something that was never lost.
Wow. So, what does object mean, and what does subject actually mean? What do they mean?
Subject is I. Object is whatever, like this phone or you, or So it creates that dualism right away, right? I am drinking a cup. I am holding this iPad. I have this headphone. So it makes it dualistic right away. Or I am talking to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a cool point, actually, because, yeah. So, like, as soon as you say anything after I,
yeah,
it's like into dualism.
That's right.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so next. Experience. What does experience mean?
It's what's happening right now.
Yes.
Everything is. Everything.
Yeah.
To me, sometimes I like that word because it kind of like it explains what is real is experience. Everything is an experience. Like people will say, well, I'm not here. We know I'm here. I have this, but this is an experience. The thought, the feelings, words, ideas are all experiences. Your character, time. So it almost encompasses a lot of things. Experience.
Wow.
Yeah.
So an experience is an object, while experiencing is the subject, right?
Yep. Yep.
Wow.
I'm sorry, the line is cutting out again.
What should we do? We've got to make a decision.
I'm enjoying this though. This is really good.
Yeah. So it's meeting new people. Like, you're a cool dude. I like you.
Thank you. It's so hard to talk about this because no one really wants to talk about it, or sometimes I try to kind of like talk about it. Like I think I was talking to Noel, and yeah, it's that's why I look forward to talking to Noel sometimes. I'm like, okay, I can talk about this stuff, and it's really, really good.
Yeah.
And this one, this is really great because it's I was kind of like more of like the person or the character that just doesn't want to do any kind of like public stuff, but this is fine. This is great. It's like just having a conversation, and I have nothing to teach anyway.
Okay. What do you mean by that? What do you mean? What do you mean?
I don't really consider myself as a teacher anymore. I was a teacher before, but I basically talked about ideas and concepts. So what I'm trying to this character is trying to do is just trying to kind of like unravel all of those ideas and concepts, with ideas and concepts as well that could actually hopefully liberate, hopefully take off, some of the stickiness or something that's sticking in your head, like what time is, or what ideas or what thoughts are, or it's kind of like almost like putting a flashlight on something that might be not clear at times, not really teaching, because the
Mm.
teacher
Is
is there's no teaching that can really.
yeah.
If there's a teaching, then I would be like, well, there's this 12 steps to this, and in the morning you have to do 20 breaths, and do 40 minutes of yoga, and after that, you go sattvic, or you eat nothing but clean food, which is really great too. And that's
Mm.
if that's what I'm saying, if that's what's going to help you do it, what I'm saying. But in my experience, because I've done all of that, to me it's nothing different than going to a pub.
What's a pub? You know what a pub is?
Yeah, and it's kind of like everything is sacred. You know what I'm saying? I don't like the word sacred, but let's use it anyway. Everything is sacred. From drinking beer to doing your meditation, as long
Mm.
as you're aware. There's a difference though with self-harming and that kind of stuff like that, which is not really cool. But that's not a judgment, right? But again, that's just an expression. Everything is just an expression, right? So how can we really judge expressions?
Yeah.
There's a tendency that I contradict myself because of the way that words, what I'm saying, is just
Yeah.
so, or even thought processes, what I'm saying, because we're so accustomed to these thoughts and everything, or any words that we have. It's almost like it's so hard to explain.
Right.
Did you have this similar things with other people that it's just so difficult to
I've
explain?
got a guy. He's from America, and I think it's episode six.
Yeah.
Episode six. And dude, he's like, yeah, same there. Like, so fun though. We were talking about the nature. We're talking about nature, the wonder of nature. Oh yeah,
Oh, it's good.
good. But
Good.
yeah, on that
So
point where,
there's no gurus really that can help you.
mm,
What I'm saying? The
yeah,
gurus are pointers, what I'm saying, but ultimately you have to do the pointing yourself, right? It's
definitely.
almost kind of like but you know what? I really did enjoy, listening to. I would like listen to Jim Newman or Tony Parsons, and listen to like 8 hours of that, and I was like, what is this? I'm not getting it. And it's kind of like I remember kind of like not really understanding humor before, but when you laugh with the laugh track, you're like, oh, I get it. It's kind of like watching Simpsons, or one of those TV shows that there's a lot. Not Simpsons. Remember those old TV shows that had a laugh track?
Friends.
Friends.
Right,
So they would
yeah,
have a laugh track, right? And then,
yeah,
but you're
yeah.
not getting it. And then after kind of like watching it like several times, and then after getting it, and one moment that I just gave up. See, what I did was, if there's any system or something, is I gave up seeking. I'm like, I'm done, kind of thing.
Yeah.
I can't do this anymore. And I just didn't take it. It almost just became a habit, just to put on something to make me fall asleep, listen to all of this YouTube
Yeah, like a
stuff.
crutch, right?
Yes, my crutch. But when I gave up, when I'm kind of like, oh, there's no hope for me. And it was right. There's no hope for this character. And then it just happened. It was just like, and I did a one-on-one with Noel, and I'm like, is this really happening? I'm like, is this it? Because I was not sure, and the character was not sure, but the awareness was there. It was already there. It's kind of like, okay, you know what? It's like a separation of the character and the awareness, because the character at one point thought it was the awareness.
Mm.
Does that make any sense? Okay, go back to your question. Sorry, I keep on. It's just fun talking about
uh,
this.
yeah, it's weird because how can we talk about like nothing for so long? Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. And like, what I'd wrap this topic up with is we can't really teach experience, can we?
No. You just allow it. Allow it. It's an allowance of things. Like for me, it's an allowing. Because I thought that if I follow those gurus with robes and be practice extreme kindness and selflessness, and wake up at 5 o'clock, 4 o'clock every morning, do my meditation, do my 2 hour practice, and just and then when I realized that that was not happening, I rebelled. It was like, this is not, what the hell is this? Why did I do this for? It's a character again. It's kind of like you had that glimpse in the beginning, and then you think that you got out of the character, but you just went into a different character.
Yeah.
But it's still a character.
Man. Yeah.
And that character is just more. It's you think it's like, oh wow, it's got a higher billing now. This character is popular, and
Yeah.
you think so. No self improvement, works. It's just a character trying to self improve. Does that make any sense?
Could you explain it in a different way?
For example, for me, kind of like, going to, practicing meditation, 2 hours of yoga, reading, sutras, drinking, tea, and eating vegan. And, nothing wrong with that again. That's a really, really great path. It's really amazing. I really liked it. I really felt good at that time. But it was not giving me what everybody's seeing, that unwavering happiness. That happiness is just still that peacefulness that's behind it. Because there's always kind of like a thought of like, am I doing this right? Maybe I should go party. I should.
Yeah.
or maybe I should become a raw vegan now. Or maybe I should increase my meditation practice to 4 hours a day. And maybe I should do my yoga practice to 8 hours. Maybe I should just do this the whole time. Or maybe I should go to a cave. Or maybe I should do this. And nothing. It was, and you know what? And I think it was I think I was listening to Adyashanti, and I stopped listening to Adyashanti for quite a while because, again, he was not getting me there. So this is what I did. So I would find a teacher, and I would listen to them, like listen to all of their books, listen to everything that they have to say. And if that teacher does not give me enlightenment, I move on to another teacher. I'm like, okay, Adyashanti didn't do it for me, so I'm going to go for this teacher and this teacher. I'm like, oh, these teachers are so much better now. But they're just all different flavors of non-duality. They're all great. They're all experiences. And I was mind blown with a lot of teachers. Like, I think Adyashanti did it for me in the beginning, but after a while I didn't listen to him, and I listened to him again, and I realized of how humble and how beautiful his message is, and how ultimately it's just reality. He was talking about him meditating. He was a Zen Buddhist, and he meditated, and that was not doing it for him too. So he did like thousands of hours of meditation, and that did not wake him up. And when it happened to him, and I think he was just so, I don't know, normal. Like, I get that. That's what I felt too, because I thought that by going austere or going to a life of austerity, selflessness, and all of this kind of stuff. But again, if you look at selflessness, that's an ego-based thought as well of trying to be better than others.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, look at me now. Look at how many people I've helped, or how many people. That's my dog. Sorry. How many people I've helped.
All right.
How many people. And then the ego kind of like takes over, and then it becomes kind of like, oh, that's another character now. It's a character that thinks that it's better than others. Does that make any sense?
Yeah. So
a lot of
how did you? We'll get on to later on. I'll ask how did you actually? We did experience, and now 13 of 19. And by the way, after the quick fire, which has been very quick, is it?
Yeah, no.
After these, we've got long form questions.
Okay.
And
all right.
they're nice, juicy. All right. After experience, we have mind. What does the word mind mean?
Mind is another construct. It's an idea of what is thinking, what is kind of like processing these things. If you look at the mind, it's if you look for your mind inside your brain, if you cut up your brain, where are you going to find your mind?
It ain't there, boy.
It ain't there.
It ain't there.
No. Okay. Next. I have another person that I talked to that had this experience, and it's funny because people think that, what do you guys talk about? And I'm like, just normal things. We talk about other teachers, and it's really really great. And we talk about interviewers, and I'm like, do they get it? Do they understand what what they're getting into? Or um, because it's just so normal. And then there's some teachers. I think a lot of the um, misunderstanding about this is because a lot of the teachers, especially people from India, are very guru-like, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
and and then Rupert Spira came from A Course in Miracles, kind of like which is very religious, very serious. Right? I really like Rupert Spira. He's really great. I like his book and his talks. And thanks to you, I've been listening to him. Because you have this picture with Rupert Spira, right? So I'm like, oh,
Yeah, dude.
how was it meeting him? Was it great?
Oh well, it wasn't as long as I thought, as I wanted. I wanted to have a freaking sit down dinner with him.
Yeah.
Take him to Disneyland. But no, he's just a chill guy.
Yeah.
You know,
I see a lot of
and
people, thinks that this kind of stuff is so unknowable.
yeah, and exotic, right?
No, it's
Exotic.
not. It's actually the simplest thing ever. It's so deceptively simple. Um,
Yeah.
it's just, I thought that when this happened to me that I was going to be levitating.
back. Boys are back in town. Oh,
That's right.
yeah.
You
So,
like classic rock too?
classic rock, yeah, dude, I love classic rock. I love classic rock. What kind of classic rock do you like?
Um, I really like the Doors.
Ooh,
Uh,
yes, yes,
the
yes.
Doors. I really like. I think I went to. I really like Led Zeppelin.
Same,
Uh,
man. Yeah, yeah.
and just a whole bunch of classic rocks. And it's kind of funny because I'm older, right? So Red Hot Chili Peppers is not classic rock to me. It's what I grew up in. The classic rock to me is what my uncles played. My uncles used to play the Eagles, Hotel California,
Yeah.
and all that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
That was good. um, but yeah, I love all kinds of music. I'm a big fan of music. To me, when I was a baby, my first toy was a record player.
Wow.
And then
Yes,
my
that's well.
my grandfather had a record store, so I was babysat in a record store.
That's cool. Nice little
Yeah,
story.
yeah.
God created. Well done, God. You are great.
Mind to me is just a construct. It's an idea. It's concept. It's what we try to put on the processes of a brain, right? You can't find mind if you look up mind on in your brain. If you cut up your brain, you will not be able to find it. And mind is just something that is an idea. It's an illusion. It's not real. Kind of like ego. Ego is also kind of like an idea.
Some people would say that these ideas come from the mind.
they're arising from nowhere, kind of like thoughts, feelings. Those feelings come from the mind.
Don't know. I don't know. Yeah, okay.
Where is your mind? Oh, that song by the Pixies. Where is your mind?
Man. I used to play that with my friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We should come up with a non-dualistic playlist.
Yeah, that would be great. We could do that. We could very much do that. The Beatles. Which one? Oh man, it's I got it. Where is it?
Across the universe.
That's it. Well, that's it, man. Wow. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Jai Guru Deva.
That's been
All right. Anyway.
Yeah.
So the mind is just a construct.
It's a construct. Yeah, it's like thoughts. Mind arises in and out. Kind of like when you wake up. Sometimes you're just looking around. Where am I? Who am I?
When I wake up.
or in a bad night, you're right. Oh no, who am I with? It's just like your mind disappears completely. Right, so it's like your mind is almost like recreating stuff, you know what I'm saying? But who's behind the mind? You know what I'm saying? What is aware of the mind? That's what's real, because that never disappears.
What is mind?
Mind in a non-dualistic interpretation is basically non-existent. It's not real, and it's imagine you waking up in the morning and then you have the thought, where's your mind before that? Right? Or even when you're dreaming, where do you think your mind is there? When you're sleeping and dreaming. So it's an idea as well. Like, and if you go to kind of like a biology, if you they can like cut your brain, and where's your mind there? Not really, right? It's almost like um, some others are better at explaining this, but it's kind of like if they search for your brain, and if your mind for inside your brain, they're not going to find it. And they've actually tried to do it already, in science, and they could not find it. Yeah. So where does it come from? From nothingness or nowhere, or it's just an arising thing. Kind of like your mind is here, your mind is not there. It's like a functioning. It's like it's an experiencing thing, right? It's kind of like how thoughts are, experiences, feelings, emotions, ideas comes from that same kind of like, if you're going to talk about, the absolute reality and the oneness, or whatever you might want to call it, or awareness, and the existence of mind is paradoxical.
What do you mean?
So there's this kind of like oneness or awareness or whatever you want to call it, experiencing, that is always constant, and then the mind appears in and out, which is not constant. So one is real and one is not.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah,
that makes sense. What do most people think the mind is?
I'm not really sure. Ask them.
Yeah, I suppose.
You can go up, walk in. What is a mind?
That's a good video idea.
Yeah,
I'm gonna do that shit. Yeah, I'm gonna do that shit.
You should just
ask,
ask questions about what are thoughts.
This
just random.
channel.
Yeah,
dude.
yeah.
Yeah, boom.
Yeah.
All right.
There's mind.
What? What did you say?
There's the mind. With the idea. The mind with the idea. Yeah.
Where did that idea come from? People would say the mind, right?
I don't know, actually. Does it? No.
I don't know what the mind is, dude.
Yeah. Yeah. Where's the mind? Dude, where's my mind?
Where is my mind? Boom, boom.
Where is?
Dude,
Yeah.
yeah.
They got it right, that song. Where is my mind? But yeah, go ahead. Next one. I think we covered mind. Do you think?
So the last point I want to make about mind. So the dualistic, because in dualism there basically isn't like a one reality. There, and of course dualism is just a construct, right?
It is a construct, yeah. You take away the words, take away ideas, you take away everything, and there's no dualism, really. If you take away all the concepts, all the definitions, take away language, there's no dualism.
Yeah, okay.
You got it?
I mean, I know I do. I'm pretty sure I do, but I want to clarify for the viewers, like from the dualistic point of view, what the mind is this sort of.
The mind is what processes ideas and thoughts and all that kind of stuff. Right? It comes from your mind.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the epicenter of all of your thoughts and ideas. Right? That's where it arises from. So it's kind of like in a dualistic thought, that's where thoughts are generated from.
Okay.
The mind will kind of like it's kind of like, so in a dualistic thing, the mind will determine kind of like the thoughts based on the past, kind of like a little bit determinism, right? Talks about the past or situations in the past, and then it comes up with this thought. But thoughts are not like that, really. They just come out randomly. They actually did a test, this is going with the character again, right? This is a story, but they did a whole bunch of tests on free will and determinism, and and with they study the mind kind of thing, right? Where it comes from. And there's a lag. I don't know the exact. I'm really bad with memory, but especially lately, because I've just been focused on the experiencing thing, right? It's not. It's kind of like the idea of going back and forth. Like it's almost like doesn't have the same traction anymore of holding on to ideas. But in this study, what they did is the scientists basically, there's a second lag, so the mind already has, before I think it's pressing something, a button, has already thought about it. There's a second lag, so there's no free will because it's already generated before you do the action.
Yeah. I've heard a similar thing where it's
like that.
I've heard like a thing where it's like something. It's like a 0.8 point second lag. Yeah, fuck.
So it's like a machine, right? We're like a machine. If you really look at that, we're like a meat machine, with.
Yeah, dude. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay,
or something like that, for a lack of a better term.
Yeah, meat puppets.
Meat puppets. Yeah.
Hey, rock.
Hey, yeah.
All right. So
rock
now.
and roll and Advaita.
Oh, okay. So now, infinity. What is infinity?
Another concept of idea of what infinity is, right? It's another construct of the mind. If you really look at it, it appears like there's this, like, it's almost like a really nice concept of that there's no ending and no, you know what I'm saying? It's just another construct. It's another, what do you think people think about when they say infinity? The question goes back to you.
I think just sort of just a concept.
Eternal.
Just like yeah.
Like, but you can't really explain it, can you?
No. I suppose like infinity. What? Where is the limits, right?
Yeah. There's no limits. again, that's another, but it's a construct again, right? The idea of infinite or infinity is a construct. It's like, it's um, some people will call, like awareness the infinite or something, but it's also dualistic because if you look at it, there's a finite idea and there's an infinite idea, so it's dualistic. So it's based on a finite idea, right? There's a limit. Like, for example, my time is here on Earth is until I'm 85, and then after that, I'm infinity. That's also an idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So, is there anything that isn't a construct?
Everything in this dualistic world is a construct. Every thought, the moment that you think of it, it's a construct. The moment that you perceive it, it's a construct. So that was really tough for me, for the character, right? Because I would come up with a whole bunch of ideas and theories and explanations when it's beyond their capacity. And that's why I like watching like Andreas Mueller or Tony Parsons or Jim Newman, because they cut off right away and you're like, that's just a story before you can even finish a question, which is really great because they're just really direct to the point. And mind you, they've been doing this for a long, long time. So I think that maybe in the beginning, what I'm saying, they were able to talk more, but now that it's just cut to the chase, right? Like let's just not talk about any stories or any ideas. Let's just talk about the unknowable. Let's try to attempt of what's apparently happening rather than just kind of like focusing on things. But yeah, does that make sense?
I think so. Yeah. You don't have to ask me that, man. If it makes sense to you, blah, blah, blah. All right.
Yeah.
So, okay. So, infinity. So, all right. Cool. Done it. Thank you, everyone. Woohoo! We did it. Okay. This is crazy. Okay. And now, God. What does God mean?
That's a big one. That's like, the idea of a God is also non-existent. It's also an idea. It's also, I know, but I know it's really, really difficult. But there's something that's if you take a word away God, then everything is God. Without that, without saying the word God or something, we're just trapped in words, right? Let's not get caught up in ideas in words, right? Because a God for you, a God for me, a God for could be different meanings again. It's a different perception for all of these ideas. A God for a Catholic person is completely different. A God from a Buddhist is completely different. A God from an atheist is completely different, right? But let's just take away all of that and let's make it into a non-dualistic thing. What if experiencing is God? What if all of this awareness is God? What if it's the behind all of this, the awareness is, you can just, is God, right? I like, there's a romanticized idea of God, kind of like always. But you know what, because I was raised Catholic, kind of like a recovering Catholic, I like that idea. I really, really like that idea, and it really helped me a lot too. And what really caught me off guard was um, when I was looking for God or awareness, and then when this awareness happened, God, the painting on the wall was God, the air, the space that we're kind of like the ether. Um, you are God. This smack air that you're appearing is God. Everything is, and 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 I am it too, and you are it too. It's just a oneness. You know what I'm saying? So that limited idea of God, when you take away words and concepts and um, definitions, is so liberating to just kind of like, okay, so you could even say that coronavirus is God. You know what I'm saying? You can also say the antidote to coronavirus is God. It's just an expression of everything. It's just an expression. Life is God, death is God, everything that arises is God, without getting caught up in the word God. It's just interchangeable words into awareness or consciousness or whatever the hit word right now is for non-duality. It always changes for some odd reason. Um, if you look at,
Uh,
if we listen to the other sages, and there was a time I was allergic to the word God. I was like, oh no, I can't read this book. It has the word God. Close it right away. A Course in Miracles is a lot of word. It's in a Christian language terminology. Like it uses the word brother, Christ, atonement. A lot of So it was triggering for me in the beginning. But when I let go of those words and just try to understand what the non-dualistic thing. Again, I'm not promoting anything. You know what I'm saying? Of course, Miracles did not do it for me, but I'm not, suggesting not to read it. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not promoting anything. It's just something that it's everything is equal kind of thing. Everything is the same. Does that make any sense? So the word God is very almost like it makes you hit a wall. You can't get past it if you can't get the past. Because you have the moment that you have an idea of God, you separate it from you. It's already separated from
yeah.
you. You say thank God, so it's an external thing rather than saying that thanks.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, it's funny.
Or you know what? Help me, God. Please, please help me, God. Right? And all
Yeah.
kind of stuff. And rather than kind of like, you know what? This is great. Whatever is being presented to me, it's not great. Sometimes it's sad, but you accept it. It's kind of like saying yes to every single occasion is accepting God as it is or what is. You know what I'm saying? It's like honoring that. Like this is an expression, kind of like, well, you know what? I love God, but I don't like coronavirus. I don't like Trump. I don't like all of this stuff. I don't like Boris, whatever his name is. Um,
Yeah.
no
Yeah.
judgment. You know what I'm saying? It's just an expression of that too. It's just an expression of awareness or God or oneness or whatever you might want to call it. It's just kind of like, okay, you might have some, stickiness to it or kind of like an attachment to not liking this or that. But if you are going into a non-dualistic radical way of thinking, everything is that's being presented in front of you. It's an expression of God, including you, including everything, and it's like it's like being the concept of the judging, and it's um or kind of like not this is greater, this is not. The moment that you look at this as less than you or more than you, then you're not connected to who you really are.
Bang.
Yeah.
There it is. That's nice.
Hmm.
One of my favorite sayings about God is, or the idea of God, right? Man in the clouds
Hmm.
stuff, right?
Yeah,
Uh,
like
which
Santa
is,
Claus.
yeah, dude. Yeah. Yeah. An anthropomorphic metaphor for infinity.
Yeah,
So
it's
yeah.
just another idea. It's another concept.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I should just call myself like the word eraser, just erasing all of this, you know. Um,
That's
and
cool.
it's kind of like or concept, eliminator, or taking away all of these ideas because the moment that you think of an idea, and it's funny because we're talking about ideas, you know what I'm saying? But it's the more that we kind of like unravel or unlearn all of this stuff that we have, we think that we have, it's getting generated, all of this stuff, right? We're generating this thought, but this thought about God also disappears. It's not there permanently, right?
Yeah.
So what if you even not separate that? What if the thoughts that are arising is also part of that and it disappears?
Could you repeat that,
Yeah, yeah.
please?
It's a hard concept again. I'm just um, so for example, if because there's a tendency for us to kind of like separate or well, those thoughts are not, they're not oneness or something, but what if the things that are arising and also disappearing are a part of that expression a part of that experience. So just allowing everything. So for example, when sadness happens, allow it. When happiness
Yeah.
happens, allow it. When thoughts about fear about coronavirus, allow it. That's also an expression of all of that. So
Alright.
God is, it's what I think God is in every single. I can't remember it. There's a quote that I really really like, but I can't remember. I'll get back to it when I remember it. But it's in every fabric of your being and everything around you, in every single molecule, in every single dust, in every single thing. And when you realize that, you know, and you're like, oh wow, that plastic flower is really beautiful too. um,
Yeah.
and it's just not, not just think of the things that are conditioned in our mind to either identify as better than or less than, or you know what, I like this one, or but not that one, because that's a dualistic thinking. And that's what I started kind of like, this process, called, awareness or awakening is tough, because there's a character, kind of like what Rupert Spira said it really, really well. When you have this glimpse or awakening, it's kind of like writing on a sand. The ocean flows back and forth, but it doesn't completely erase that.
Hmm.
Does that make any sense? So the idea of God is the same thing, right? It's kind of like you wrote God in the ocean, on the beach sand, and the water comes in and out, but it's still there. But just let go of that idea completely. Let go of any preconceived notions that you have about God, and then you experience God.
Yes. So the a little insight, like, it's funny because the the omnipresence of God,
Mhm.
when it's thought of in the anthropologic uh, metaphor for infinity, like when it's like a dude, I remember people saying, well, it's really weird if he's everywhere because then he sees me in the shower. So yeah.
So what?
So well, yeah, I suppose yeah.
Again, it's so humble, and it's so divine, and it's so graceful that it doesn't judge anything. It's
Wow, yeah.
intimate. So it
So
doesn't matter if you're in the washroom taking a shit, what I'm saying, or
yeah,
or helping, in a soup kitchen. It's the same thing.
wow, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
it's there. That's what I said. When I was like, my eyes were wide open. I'm like, it's been here all this time. It has never left. It will never leave. And you know what? Awareness or God is just in every single fabric of my being. Everything that arises and disappears. Everything that and it's just there. It's kind of like having a book. I think having a book, and the page is there, and then you're just the writing on it, and then God or awareness is the page that it's appearing from. It's always been there, no matter what shitty stuff you write down in the paper. It doesn't judge it. The paper doesn't judge. You know what I'm saying? You can write, I don't know, porn or whatever in there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The pretty, and it's all equal. Or the holy stuff, you can write about enlightenment or awareness and everything, but it doesn't judge it. It's same. It's just appearing on a paper.
Another to your points there. Uh,
I
if
think
if if your life story is like a crap story, same paper, right? Same
same
book.
paper, same book. You could have a glorious story of kind of like you helping humankind, and what I'm saying, or being a shitty person. What I'm saying, it's still appearing from this same book, because the moment that we judge that, right? We judge that, then we are looking at that person as better than me, someone that helped humanity, or someone that's shitty, less than me. Then you're not connected again. You're not connected to the awareness. You're not connected to that, because you have gone to the mind now, and they're like, oh, you know what, I should kiss that guru's feet. You know what I'm saying? Or I should kick that person that spat on the floor. It's the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Radical, I
Okay.
know it's hard, but it's something that I, you know what I'm saying, as a character has done, you know what I'm saying. I've gone to become an epic, like a, image or something into a really crappy image too. And we are all like that. We're not just, and that's what's great about this experiencing, right? Is it's an allowance for everything to happen.
Yeah.
And there's a lot, like, if you want to go kind of like God and biblical and stuff like that, there's beautiful stuff in the Bible. There's also some crappy stuff in the Bible, right? There's like, in some of the New Testament, like, I don't know who was talking about this, but the Christ, figure, Jesus Christ, was so beautiful. It's like an awake being. But at that time, when you say, I am God, I am God, people are like, no, you're not. Right now, I'm saying, if we say that, they're like, namaste.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah. It's just they were not ready at that time in his story anyway, right? They were not ready at that time. And basically he's saying that I'm God and you are too. But but at that time, because of I think um the religion before that was a bit more different than it is right now. So the freedom that we have right now in saying that, you are God and I am God and all that kind of stuff like that, is accepted, right? But during that time, imagine if you go back in time, in this kind of like a virtual time travel or something, and then you go back there and you're saying, David, my name is David and I'm God, you'll be crucified.
Yeah.
But again, that's a story. I just go off tangents. I like stories. But go ahead. What's your next one?
Well, I shall end this question number 15 of 19 with with on my channel we love spiral dynamics. Mm-hmm. Here is the diagram. Dun, dun, beautiful. And back in that time, mostly it was sort of stage blue, and so that will explain why you get crucified if you. Yeah. Reality. What does reality mean? What is reality?
Reality is something that doesn't change, that is unchangeable. Reality is something that is cannot be explained because it's unchangeable, and it's kind of like almost like, in my opinion, in my it's like the background to everything that is appearing and disappearing. That's not reality. But in reality, those are just kind of like an ocean, right? There's waves in the ocean, right? The waves disappear in and out, but there's the great ocean, the deep part of the ocean, the deepest part that's not movable.
Okay. Truth. What is truth?
Truth, you can't handle the truth. No one can handle the truth. We can't handle it. The truth is something that is ungraspable, something that is undescribable, something that, because the concept of truth, that we have in the dualistic thing, no one can claim the truth. You know what I'm saying? It's something that is so, okay. My head is exploding right now because it's so hard to explain it. The truth. So truth, awareness, God, reality are basically synonyms of the same thing. Something that's unchangeable, something that cannot be, something that cannot be fallible, right? But let's not get into ideas again. We're getting into ideas. We're getting into concepts and stuff. It's just an awareness of something that is just so beyond. It's kind of like unconditional love, not the we'll go back into that one, but it's something that is under something that you can't understand. Something like, for example, so truth is unknowable. We have concepts of truth, we have laws of truth and all that kind of stuff, like all of that kind of like, but they're all ideas again. All of these truths generated by the mind, which is not true. But you think that, well, this is the truth. who says so. It could be a truth here, could be a different truth. Kind of like morality. You know what I'm saying? Morality is different here and could be different there. Kind of like for example, um, you'll say that drinking is 18 in England, in Ontario, or in 19 in Ontario, and in Quebec it's 18, and then in USA is 21. What is it in UK?
18.
18.
18.
Okay. So to them that's the truth, but that's interchangeable. You know what I'm saying? Well, this is the truth here. That's a bad example, but you get the point.
I suppose there's absolute truths and relative truths.
That's right. So the absolute truth is kind of like almost saying the absolute awareness or the absolute divinity or absolute, absolute.
Absolute vodka. 18.
Absolute vodka.
All right. What is awakening or enlightenment? What does that mean?
Oh, enlightenment is a word that is just a concept. It's just so it's almost a disservice to what reality is, to what awareness is, because when you have enlightenment, there's concepts of us and them. You're enlightened, I'm not enlightened. You know what I'm saying? You don't get it, I get it, kind of thing. Enlightenment in the dualistic thing is kind of like we revere this like holy guru, walking down and let's put petals because it's an enlightened being and everything, right? It's almost like an attainment. It's almost kind of like I thought that when awareness or whatever happened, I was going to be floating like 2 inches and walking and having a life that's going to be complete austerity and living in I actually thought of going into monkhood at one point, maybe about 4 years ago. I'm like, I'm not getting it. Maybe if I trap myself in a cave, or if I go and and do that, then maybe I will reach that. And some people might, some people don't. I know the character that I have is very extreme and probably would try to push that. So enlightenment is not something that is to be attained because you already have it. How can you attain something that's your natural? No one can take it away from you. No one can give it to you because you already have it. You're already aware, but you're pretending not to be aware. It's like it's like a joke. You know what I'm saying? That it's like a joke that you've forgotten that you've told the joke.
Wow.
Yeah. Awakening, another thing. Awakening is very similar to that. Like it's hard to use this words because I don't consider awakening or enlightenment as this character, right? This character or any character. If you really look at enlightenment or whatever, any character that is here or because if it's not enlightened, but if you take away the character, it's already enlightened. It's never left. It's paradoxical. It's really, really complex. It's like when I had that moment, that I thought that this was always here. It's once it happens, it's almost like it's always been there. It's almost so confusing because it's like it's so simple. It's so profound. It's also really deep. It's really humbling, and it never really stops there. So people think that enlightenment is a destination, and when you have a destination, there's a journey and everything. But what if you look at it as not a destination, but something that is always been there? It's always been there. It's kind of like you are it's hard to make analogies of it. There's one that okay, there's a story time
Boys.
I think this is from Papa G. I think he basically said that there was this shepherd that saw this lion dead lion. So he lifted up the lion and found a cub underneath it. So he took away the cub and then raised it with his sheeps. So this lion grew up, not knowing that he's a lion. He's just a sheep with all of these sheep. So he kind of all that kind of stuff. And then one day, another lion comes out from a different, area or something, and was watching the sheep about to eat. Goes, why does this lion not eating all of these sheep? Looking at it, and then he was observing it. And then when the lion came, the other lion that was growing up as a sheep was like, "Oh my God, what is that?" It's like, "What is this?" And then the other lion said, "Do you know who you are? Do you know what you are?" And he goes, "I'm a sheep." He goes, "No, you're not." He goes, "I'm a sheep. I'm with all of these sheep." So the lion took this other lion that thinks it's a sheep and took him to a river, like a really clear river. He goes, "Look at your reflection." And then he roared.
Raw.
Yeah.
Damn.
That's a good story, yeah?
Yeah, that's a good story, man.
Yeah.
I'll get an animator one day.
Yeah.
Dude, animators getting all this shit, man. We can make it as clear as possible.
Yeah. That's a good one. I like that one. So that's what enlightenment is basically, is you forgetting who you are already. You forgetting that you are already there. David, you're already there. You got it. You know what I'm saying? But just stop letting the mind take control of that and allowing it just to be what it is. Separate yourself from the mind, because you're not the mind, right? The mind will tell you that you're David, that you're having this conversation. But if you just do 180, like your vision, kind of like going 180 and look at what's looking, then you're going to roar.
I'll save it for later.
Okay.
All right. Now, what is love?
Love, the way that we understand it in a non-dualistic thing, is actually horrible. You know what I'm saying?
What? What?
In a dualistic romantic thing, it's almost like it's almost like a drug. You know what I'm saying? Something to be attained. But how can you attain something that you already are?
Mm-hmm.
You have to get it from another person. You have to get it. You have to get it from. If I give you love, will you give me love? You know what I'm saying?
It's really weird.
Yeah, it's really dualistic, right? It's kind of like, why don't we just express ourselves as who we are as love? It's horrible when you kind of like, when it's conditional, right? It's kind of like, if you say I do, I say I do. The marriage kind of like happens, right? And all that kind of stuff. So unconditional love is really, really difficult to practice here, right? Because you're just going to trip up yourself all the time. It's something, like the deepest form of unconditional love is what God is, what awareness is. The same space, or the same kind of like story that has like Hitler and Gandhi and Mother Teresa and Jesus and Buddha, what I'm saying, in maybe the same book, without judging any of them. That's unconditional love. That's that's the deepest form of unconditional love, right? It's characters, loves all the characters. It's kind of like when you read a book, so you're reading a book and everything. There's some characters that because we are, I love that character, but I don't love that character. But it's just a book. It's just characters. You're not going to say I'm going to say I love the book. It's really great. And this character, wow, that was really dark. Or this character, like, wow, what a really beautiful, kind character. It's the same book.
So right here, the viewers, what we're saying is like, this is a book now, and there are two characters here, right?
Yeah.
And like, it's like, yeah.
Yeah. This is just one book. It's just, the whole.
A movie.
The whole movie. I think every single non-dualist teacher, what I'm saying, has this movie kind of like thing, which is really great. I really like the book one because it's kind of like you love the whole book. You're reading the book, you know what I'm saying? It's and then sometimes you get caught up in the book, like you have this, or what I used to love doing was I love So there was a time that I read nothing but non-dualistic, literature, or not literature but books, and how to better myself, how to better myself. Lately, I've been watching kind of like Noel and I were talking about this. We're like laughing. I'm like, have you seen Tiger King in Netflix?
I've heard a lot about that. Yeah, dude.
So here we are, like laughing about the characters in this it's just characters. It's like a documentary, but they're just still characters, just like you and I. And
Dude, that's so funny, man. We're characters, right?
yeah, we're characters.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
dude, I love talking about technology.
Yeah.
And like, imagine the games in the future is going to be like augmented reality or virtual reality.
It's happening right now.
Yo, dude, what do you know?
You and I.
What do you know about it? Oh yeah.
Are in augmented reality.
Yeah.
This is a really beautiful construct. This is like, if you think of Sim City and everything, this is like next level Sim City, where we can touch and feel and have emotion and have this kind of like it's like, do you watch Westworld?
No.
You should watch it. It's basically a whole bunch of robots with consciousness and questioning their existence. That's who we are. We think.
Right.
Yeah. And then we think that we can. And the good thing about that one is there's an us and them. But talk about your augmented reality. But that's what is a video game. 3 separate video games or just one. There could be 1,000 characters in it, but there's just one video game. That's what it is.
Yeah. Oh man. So yeah, like I can't wait to get people who are like really into technology in the technology world in your position here. All these characters. We're gonna get loads of info.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude. Did you what old school game consoles did you play? Did you use?
Which one?
Which did you play on any games consoles when like Game Boy or?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Dude.
Oh yeah. We did a whole bunch of different games and Castlevania. Remember Nintendo?
No, I don't.
It's now a TV series and it's really great. It's a Dracula. I really like Dracula actually. Dracula was really really great for me. Have you seen Dracula? It's a UK Netflix show.
No,
it's about. I should a spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. But I'll give you Dracula is the ego and he didn't want to go. But when you put the light on the ego, it disappears. That's why he's afraid of the light, is because he realizes it's not real.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Watch it. It's
That's
great.
Cool.
It's think about our ego, right? Like when on the way to or on the process of awakening or in the process. That's why I don't want to almost wish anybody this process that I went through, because it's really difficult sometimes. The ego kind of like fights, but you think you are the ego. You think you're the ego, so you kind of like you get into this mess sometimes, right? Some people just have this awakening where it's almost like the people that I've heard that have that awakening almost had to go through a difficult part and almost like shedding that story or shedding that or killing the character.
Wow.
Yeah. It's kind of like in a video game. How do you kill a character in a video game when you are also in the video game, and the character that you have to kill is your character?
Well, leave that one for the comments.
Right. Or how do you delete yourself? That's not even the word kill, right? How do you delete yourself from the video game? You just play along.
Wow.
Right? You're in a video game and all of a sudden you're like, wait a second, I'm not a character in a video game, but you are kind of like aware that this is a video game now.
I
It's
think
kind of like
I get what you mean.
it's
Yeah.
kind of like that big argument with Arjuna and Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, right? When Krishna was, have you read the Bhagavad Gita?
A little bit, but not much.
It's a classic spiritual text that has been read by yogis. A lot of non-dualist people also read it. It's this battle of Krishna and Arjuna. Arjuna basically saying in a battle that how do I kill these people in a battle? And then Krishna basically said that I'm completely putting on a non-dualistic kind of like more into it, that but you're a character, just do your character, but also be aware that you're a character. So there's a lot of that, yeah.
Okay. So love. I'd like to.
I forgot about the love part. So love is as a non-dualistic construct, again, trying to mimic the reality of what unconditional love is. Right? We kind of like almost know it, but we don't know it. So we try to love each other, but if we reverse that and we put that love towards ourselves, we almost got it wrong. We got it backwards, right? I'm like, okay, I'm going to love all of these people with the hopes of them loving me back. I'm going to serve all these people, hoping that they will love. I will be a slave for all of these people, which is inherently a little bit kind of like self. What do you call it? You're denying yourself of who you are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or kind of like being in a dysfunctional kind of like codependent relationship is what passes for love. And if you look at like listen to a lot of songs, it's like I'm like, oh, that's not, if you listen to like Mars, this is Bruno's, I would jump on a train
for you.
Yeah. Like,
yeah.
Oh, that's kind of
yes.
Yeah. If you love me, I'll love you back. That's what love is in an undualistic thing. People don't, again, when you categorize love that's dualistic, when you say, well, that's, even when you say that's, conditional love and unconditional love, because there's no such thing as conditional love, really. That's not really love. It's an expression, it's an arising, it's an interpretation of a deeper truth of unconditional love, but it's not really love.
I'd like to add love, the collapse of separation.
Yeah.
Rupert Spira said that, I think.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I like that. Sometimes when I think the bridge to love is letting go of fear, and then you can one another. It's almost like when you fall in love with somebody, you're actually seeing the best aspect of yourself. You're seeing a reflection of your best qualities. Let's do an example. Think about two people that you admire the most, or one person.
Okay.
Let's say Rupert Spira. What do you like him?
Sure.
Do you like him?
Yeah.
I
like him.
Do you like him? What are 3 qualities that you love about Rupert?
The clarity of his expression of the non-dual, and then also the intelligence.
Okay.
And yeah, okay.
Do you like his clarity and his intelligence? What else? 3rd one.
His dress sense.
The what?
His dress sense.
Okay. So those are your best qualities.
All right.
That's actually you.
Wow. Yeah.
Your clarity, your intelligence, and that's you. You're just looking at your reflection.
And really, there wasn't like a separate me, was there?
No, there's no separation, right? There's no separation between you and Rupert Spira. Just seeing that your best qualities, that you want to see in other people is just actually being reflected back to you. That's love.
And also what you're saying, are you saying the realization of our shared being?
Yeah, it's also your realization. Yeah.
All right.
Or the same
Okay,
thing
well,
that even with the dark things, for example, what irritates you about other people are the ones that you need to work on yourself.
yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Okay. So we move on to the long form questions.
Okay.
Pizza. Hey, viewers. I brought up some pizza that was warm, but due to my respect, I am not eating it. Due to munching sounds. Wet munching sounds. Alright. Okay, so let's crash straight into this. So
Okay.
where even is the camera? I can't even see the lens. There it is. Okay.
Yeah.
These are long form, so I want a long detail, all the
We've been
nuts
doing
and
that all along,
bolts.
though.
I know. Yeah. How did you discover non-duality?
Non-duality, if you kind of like look at when you're a child, right? Like there's non-duality, and I think I sensed that when the separation, when I was like, I think about 4 or 5, and asked my parents, "Why did you bring me here? Why did you bring me here?" And that's the ego starting to kind of like come out, right? But um, going back into timeline, I think that feeling of getting everything that you think you need, like job, partner, everything that you could think of, and then all of a sudden there's an emptiness feeling. You feel like that there's something lacking, and that questioning. The seeking started when you wanted to go back into finding out what's the truth, right? And it's kind of like almost kind of like the veil is beginning to get lifted. So you kind of want to see what's going on, and I think I was just a seeker all through and through. I'm like a kind of seeker that will seek all the way. If I if I study a teacher, I'll try to get to read all the books that the teachers written, and listen to all of the it's just nonstop. I'm like, I have to get it. So I think it started with A Course in Miracles for me, and then after a while, I think it's great, what I'm saying, but I think that what I'm looking for is this. I realized this just really, really recently, actually, that what I was looking for is I wanted to find a path, but I wanted to find a path that would have people that would get enlightened. And then I didn't really see any people in the Course in Miracle, that were kind of like coming there. I'm sure there are, what I'm saying, but I just didn't see that in my
You want
time.
results.
Yeah, I wanted results, and I discovered meditation, and then I did the retreats. I did the yoga retreats and meditation retreats, and to a point that I was meditating, I think like 2 hours, 3 hours, and meditation just became everything. Every hour, I would put on my phone and a reminder to meditate for 10 minutes every hour, and then after that, 8-hour day at work or something, then I would be meditating for like an hour or 2 hours, um, and then I realized that I was just forcing it, that I was not getting anywhere as well. So I started reading about the texts, the books about, and I kind of like almost kind of like it feels like, I know this is a story. It feels like that I went through levels. So I did that, and then I went to yoga, and I wanted to get everything to know about yoga. I'm like, maybe this practice. I read the Hatha Pradipika. I read the Patanjali's Yoga Sutras. I read the Bhagavad Gita and all of those texts. And then it was not enough just to be a student. I became a teacher of it. And then that was not enough. Like, and I practiced karma, helping others, being selfless and everything. And But people always question you, with your selflessness and everything. And also the selflessness, I think, is also a desire to be loved. So it's not really selfless if you really, really look at it. And at that time I thought I'm like, if I become selfless, will this lead me to liberation? But liberation thinks, sometimes you think that you're better than others because you're helping others. And then I realized it was kind of like, okay, this is not the path. So what I did is after that is it's almost kind of like a destroying of myself, and but after that I started reading more and more texts and isolating myself and just reading a whole bunch of books, and then DJing once in a while and then going back into it. And then to a point that I was hitting a wall all the time. I would get it and I would not get it. I would get it and not get it. And I just got so frustrated. I'm like, I thought I got it. I had it this for 2 weeks. I was so happy for 2 weeks. But the moment that something like death, like a friend's death happened, or any kind of like big blows of life, that happens, I would go back into I don't have it anymore. So I'm just going to party or something or whatever, that the character is doing. And I would go back and forth, and until kind of like I started kind of like getting a little bit more healing, what I'm saying, for all of the stuff, because it's really tough. It's really tough. Imagine going back and forth through this. And once I felt that I dealt with a lot of shadows and a whole bunch of issues from life and everything, a story of my life, the character has to go through that. I started just like having a little bit more fun and clarity, and not really, it's like the humbling of the ego, like not really caring about social media anymore, not caring about fame or popularity, not caring about this and that, just being kind, and enjoying that character of kindness, and just allowing things. For example, I was in BC for quite a while, but when my parents, my mom, they're elderly, and when they asked me to stay, and I'm like, okay, I'll do that. I'll stay and help you, and not become like, oh no, but I have this mission to help the world. It's like, no, the character's not saving the world anymore because there's no world to save. It's an illusion. It's just being happy with the character of whatever happens, accepting it. And non-duality helped that a lot, right? And I would read from before that I actually became a student of Paul Ferrini, and Paul Ferrini is also non-dualistic but more into trauma, helping people deal with their shadows. I called him one day and I said, I want to teach at-risk youth, because they have a lot of trauma. I was an at-risk youth too with trauma in the past. And then he gave me the blessing to teach it. So I was teaching a lot of this stuff before. But at the same time, it was kind of like I felt that the material was really, really great. Paul Ferrini is great. But there was something lacking, that I was still a character trying to help people. How about helping myself? That kind of thing, right? It's kind of like the love thing, right? It's kind of like you're giving love, 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 love. And then non-duality happened. And when non-duality happened, when I started, Noel was really great. Kyle was really great, was able to talk to them, and it was just really great. And then I realized that Tony, Jim, Sylvester, what's his name again? Richard Sylvester. Have you heard of him?
No.
Rebecca, Maroon, Lisa, all of this stuff all stemmed from Tony Parsons' kind of like style of teaching. I'm like, oh wow, there's proof. There's this stuff here. There's this. It's really harsh. It's hard to understand, and sometimes you can like, what is this bullshit crap? I don't get it. Like I just get frustrated. But I persevered, I just kind of like, just kind of like kept on listening. I'm like, what do I have to lose anything? I'm ready to give up. And then one day I just like gave up. I'm like, I'm not getting it. Fuck it. It's like, I'm not getting it.
Like a moth to a flame.
Yeah. And then I just kind of like, I will never get it. This character never. And they say it too, that you'll never get it. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to trust them. I don't know how they got it then, if they got it. You know what I'm saying? It's like, how come they're special? Like, what do I have to do? I've done the I've done everything that I could think of. Like I've gone through light and gone to dark and gone to, ayahuasca and did all of this, did the healing, healed my shadows, all of that. Went to retreats, read every single book about it, read Ramana Maharshi, and it was just not getting it. It was just so difficult. And then and then I'm like, maybe I should stop, drinking and all of the stuff. So it's like been a while, and I know it has nothing to do with that because another story. Excuse me. But I think one day I just gonna like relaxed. I'm just gonna drink some water. Relaxed and allowed my being to be just whatever, relaxed, DJ'd for a bit, laid down in my brother's couch, and we went to his basement. He has two kids, and we just DJ'd. We haven't done that in a while, and just enjoyed, and lying down there. I'm not seeking anymore because I quit. Kind of like I quit everything. I'm like, and then I kind of like started questioning myself, like I quit everything and everything, and I'm like, and then there's this like part of me that basically said, "Who cares?" And everything was just like clear. I'm like, oh, and I started looking around, and I saw like the couch, my hand. It became like I know that these words um doesn't explain it completely, but it just felt like I came home.
Mm.
There's no more. I'm not lost anymore. I'm not afraid anymore. I don't have to hide. I don't have to disappear. It's almost like that character that wanted that me character has given up, has completely lost its mojo. It's like, oh, um, and I think that's when it happened, and I it has not left. There are some oscillations, like like the character tries to come back once in a while, but there's no more. It doesn't hold on to it anymore. There's no more grasping. It's just like, okay, there it is again. Oh wow, that's what's happening. So it's really peaceful, but it's the same.
Mm.
Maybe I've worked on a lot of things, but I know that it's not the as I said to you, a really good friend of mine, one of my amazing guys in this planet that I know, got it within 10 minutes without reading about non-duality. He's just really smart, and he just doesn't have he's gone through a lot in his life that his ego is not it's not like look at me, look at me kind of thing. So I think it's when I realized that when I let go of my name and the
Mm.
fame of being who I am, let go of helped along a lot too. When you realize that whatever is going to happen anyways, you just accept it. And then there's just that feeling of just like liberation, but not like in a grand way. It's more like
Mm.
it's like it's always been here. It's always been present. I've had these glimpses before, but I did not know. I was trying to hold on to it. That was the problem with non-duality. So I was trying to. The moment that I had a glimpse, I'm like, okay, I have to be holy now or something. I better do this. I better do this. I didn't want to lose it. So my trying to control it led me to perceiving that I lost it. When I realized I didn't really lose it, the control just took over.
So, if anyone has a glimpse, would it be better to not hold on to it or not try and keep it? Just kind of like, what do you reckon?
Um,
Just like,
this is just I think it's different for everyone, and everyone is kind of like I have a feeling that I have an idea that maybe every single liberation or awakening is completely different, like your thumbprint, like your fingerprint. And I think that because there's this there's this thought about free will or that kind of stuff like that. Just allow it, whatever's happening to you, just allow it. If it's seemingly that it's gone, then that's a part of the experience too. You're like, okay, it was here, but it's not there anymore. It's like not controlling things, trusting the process. Does that make any sense? Kind of like it's like when I let go of that idea of but it can happen anytime. There's no set things. It's not like there's I have this 10 steps to whatever. It doesn't work that way. Again, for you, it could happen like when some people, it happens with acid trips. I'm not promoting LSD or anything like that. I'm not promoting ayahuasca. I'm not promoting anything at all. But sometimes it happens that way. And I've heard teachers say that I had this trip and everything, and then there's people that have gone through like depression and
Mm.
suicidal attempts. I think I went through something similar into the depression and feeling kind of like nihilistic, that nothing really matters anymore, or
Yeah.
feeling like completely like I gave up. You know, I went through that, and it was just really hard. And there's this character that pretends that everything is okay, but when everything is, there's this character kind of like always kind of like cries and tries to screw things up, because it's like I give up, kind of like, what I have given up everything, all my happiness for this, in my thought. But I think I don't have any advice. I can never give any advice about how people, in my experience, I just allowed everything, accepted everything, kind of like having, kind of like saying yes to, okay, this is what's happening. Yes, okay. If it's like you know prosperity and fame, yes. If it's poverty and anonymity, yes. If it's suffering and whatever, yes. It's an experience. You cannot, it's kind of like you cannot say that this experience is better. We might think that way, but it's kind of like, it's almost kind of like um um you're thinking that you're better than awareness. The character is better than the awareness, than the creator of the character. So you just allow, kind of like, it's kind of like going to a script like, wait a second, this script says that I'm going to be. I don't think this script is right. Change it. It's
I've got
already
another
written.
example.
Yeah.
Imagine the Mona Lisa or any of Leonardo's paintings just being like, hang on, why am I like this? Dude, just trust Leo.
Yeah, yeah, that's what it is. It's like, I want to smile in this picture a bit wider.
Yeah.
I don't want to.
Yeah, that's perfect.
I want to make a funny face or something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it is. And I think non-duality is not for everyone, because it's really difficult. The study of non-duality anyway. Everybody is already non-dualistic. Everybody is the same. Everybody will get there. Um, Everyone is determined. It to me it's just, there's no time, so everyone's already aware. Everyone's aware, and
Yeah.
um, and in the moment that you think that this other person's not aware, or not aware, or what, they're not, their teaching is this and that, then you go back into that mind thinking. You go back into that dualistic thinking, that oh, I think that this person is this and that, and this is so radical because there's no more judgment, and no more judgment can be
Yeah.
questioned, saying that that's an issue of morality, that's an issue of ethics, and all that kind of stuff like that, which is really, really difficult, really, really
Yeah.
difficult. But again, all of this stuff, that we think are rules and stuff like that, are also made up by the mind. I'm not condoning, what I'm saying, like wrong action and everything like that. But if it happens, learn how to forgive. Know that it's a mistake. There's just a correction that's needed.
Yeah.
It's a compassionate
Something.
way. It's beyond. It's compassionate. Like this. It's kind of like when it also happens. It's kind of like you question their character, asking, why me? I didn't deserve this. Meanwhile, I've been seeking for it a long, long, long time, expecting to get it. And then when you finally give up and you're like, what, maybe I'm not worth it. Maybe I'm not destined for this. Maybe I'm destined for suffering and everything. And then when suffering happens, you're like, okay, this is a part of it. Sorry, that's a long, long answer to a
Well, long form question.
long form question.
Next question. Okay. Can you recall a breakthrough that accelerated your knowledge? And if so, what was that breakthrough?
I,
And what was there anything that you were doing at the time that might have been a catalyst?
I don't think there were no breakthroughs. It's really sad to say. There is some glimpses that just happen so randomly, right? It's almost like Yeah, it's I can't pinpoint a breakthrough. It's just so random. I thought it was kind of like by doing kind of like selfless service that you would feel that, but I think that was just a feeling of elation. You're like, oh, I'm doing good, kind of thing. But I think that can easily be deceptive because it's all coming from a desire. You know what I'm saying? To be
Yeah.
elated, right?
Yeah.
So it's a desire to have that feeling, and you can't really maintain that. Like what one day, for example, you've had a really good class or you had a good training with like 50 people, you feel really elated and everything, but it doesn't really last, right? You almost want to do what's the next big thing. It's almost kind of like breakthroughs are almost kind of like are happening in a really random situation. When I was walking around in the poorest postal code in Canada, I was, before that, my ego was really high, thinking that I'm better than everybody, and it was really humbling to kind of like see myself and everyone. So that's a bit of a breakthrough there when you realize things. But I think that was also random. Now that I look back at it, right? Or just I think at one point, I think I was just there was one point that I was meditating a lot that I think the past disappeared for like about 2 weeks, and I don't know if that was meditation even, right? It was just like the seeking was just so strong, and I think I was just reading so much, reading a lot. But I don't think there is a method to kind of like trying to create a breakthrough. Breakthroughs basically, I think, is almost kind of like not by accident, but are not even designed, but I think they are sporadic and random things that happens. It's kind of, I think, I'm not sure who said this, but when non-duality has got you, kind of like a tiger holds your head, it will not let go.
Mm.
So I kind of knew at that time, like, oh no, what did I get into? What did this character get into this time? This is kind of like no way out. So it will drag you, maybe eat your ego and kill you, and then you come
Yes.
out of it. You're like, and then you're come out of it. You're like, okay, that's a process, but it doesn't even feel like a process when you look at it because it's something that has always been there, something that's always been present. So it's like it felt like I was just going around in circles most of the time.
Yeah. What do you think about DMT as a method by which we can have a breakthrough?
Oh wow, I actually had it a couple times,
Wow.
and I don't promote it again. You know what I'm saying? It's just what happens. I think it felt like I was taken to a different dimension. Again, that's the mind as well, right? It's the mind stuff as well. It felt really euphoric, and it felt like I think I needed it at that time. I needed a breakthrough, but that was not it. It felt like because if that was it, then I would have been 20 years old. You know what I'm saying, and completely aware of everything. It was like a great 10-minute thing, and then that 10-minute was just a lot of things that I saw in the DMT thing, that it took maybe 5 6 years to decipher it. It was great. It was great, but again, I'm not promoting it, but it was not the way to awakening. It was a good nudge kind of thing, right? But when you have a nudge, just nudge. Like, oh, you wake up a little bit and then you go back to sleep.
All right.
Have you tried it?
No,
Okay.
I have not. I've tried marijuana a lot, and but I stopped in 2018 because
Okay.
I was getting lazy, and it was just like a happiness button, with all these
Yeah.
addictions.
Yeah. I don't think you need any kind of, this is just, from my experience, I don't think you need any kind of, mind altering psychotropic drugs and everything to be able to reach this. Because, with the DMT, maybe it was a good 10 minutes thing. And then you feel really kind of like, what did I see kind of thing, right? But again, that's the mind, It's a mind expansion thing, but it doesn't break through completely. Is my opinion. Maybe it did get a glimpse, like maybe you can like get waking up a little bit, and then you can like open your eyes and you go back to sleep, but you don't know what you saw, so your mind formulates all of this stuff. Just my opinion.
We can be aware of this present moment here as much as kaleidoscopic, beautiful visions, right?
Yeah, like look at what's it's just so even what's in front of you. Like, imagine the way that the screen is made, or the way
Dang it.
we're here. It took how many years? 14.8 billion years for us to meet.
Whoa. Yeah. And at the same time, like always now and stuff.
Yeah, it's always now, but it seems like, what I'm saying, it's just this
Yeah.
illusion or this dream or something. Like it took 14.8 billions in illusion time, to get here, although there's no time. Isn't it fascinating? Isn't that
Yeah.
magic enough? You don't need any psychedelics to go whoa, Just look at like, your chair, your floor, or when you're walking down the street, or look at the randomness of like people walking by. Um that's magic, or being in the same, or just looking at a tree sometimes, looking at a tree and the way, or colors
Oh,
appearing.
yeah.
So you don't need like, sometimes people do that, and people have gone through the LSD. It's almost kind of like the veneer is gone, like, or kind of like you see. I think LSD is an external, thing, and then mushroom is just an internal thing. So if you want to see, but there's no external and internal, right? But it all almost kind of like the reason that people can like look at this beauty around them is because they're seeing it as a part of them, an extension of them. That's why it's an amazement. Again, I'm not promoting LSD or something, but that's what people experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is nothing without wonder.
hmm There's enough wonder in everything that you see, in everything that you experience, every second, every moment, right? If you don't get caught up in your thoughts, if you don't get caught up in ideas and putting labels on everything, then everything is just so amazing. Walking down the street, you can like, have you jogged one time and then you can like your mind drops a little bit and you see how beautiful it is? Like,
The
there's
runner's
like
high.
the runner's high because your mind actually disappears for a little bit.
Yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah. Every like twice a week, I run, and dude, it's fucking awesome.
Yeah, it is. I used to do that. It's just really, really funny because my mind is really, really busy, right? So here I am, kind of like running with my dog, with the headphones, with my iPhone watch or something, talking to somebody, walking the dog, looking at people. That's not it. Because I thought I was multitasking, right? But just, I think one of the great um, sages said that when you run, run, do one thing at a time. When you eat, eat.
Yes,
When you
yes.
walk, walk. I used to think that I need to multitask and there has to be, controlling things, right? It's just about letting go of a lot of control that we are accustomed to, yeah.
All right.
So no breakthroughs. Going back to that one, no breakthroughs. It's just randomness of things, and it's beautiful that way.
All right.
Or the
What's
breakthroughs actually sometimes. Okay, this is one actually is when you pause sometimes, when you let go of the mind, when you kind of like allow things to be, and you don't put meanings and definitions to anything. And sometimes I sometimes I purposely sleep really really early, so wake up at like 3 o'clock, and I love
yeah?
that time. Sometimes it's like you can wander around. It's just so beautiful. Little things that you would not think would be grand are really grand. Like, or just like, for example, stepping on a sand or on a soil and just experiencing every single footstep. I don't know if you've tried that. It's really great. Or kind of like just
Yeah.
looking around, when you're walking. I walk my dog, um, and then we play ball. He's really old. He's like 15 years old, 14 years old. But he's still really, he's still really, and I see his wonder, like I see his smile, and he's just, beingness, right? He's just he's being a dog, and it's so great just to see that, right? It's like, imagine if we just kind of like walked, and we just kind of like strutted out of the street without our clothes. That's what dogs are doing without a care in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I said to my mother yesterday that our dog was with us, and I was like, he's just always joyous. Yeah. His eyes are like the eyes of a child.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Yeah. Or sometimes I look at my dog's eyes.
yeah.
Just, yeah, it's so great. Just looks at me. He looks at me with so much love, or maybe he's just manipulating me for more food, but
Yeah, that's
so
it,
much love.
man.
Yeah.
Dude, I had my pizza earlier. Dude, he was gulping like every 30 seconds about 10 times. I'm just like, you're not fooling me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, what are you doing? All right, anyway.
Yeah.
I'll put a picture of Buster up. Thank you, everybody. All right. What are the approaches and methodologies you've used and would advocate to others for waking up to our true nature?
I don't really have any methods. You know what I'm saying? I don't really have any kind of thing. And the character had methods before. The character, the would meditate, yoga, all that kind of stuff. It's great. You know what I'm saying? But I think the way to kind of like being a present or being kind of like aware is just allowing things to be, pausing once in a while, allowing things to, and I think trusting the process. Just allow things to arise, allow things to be experienced, and not put any judgments. I think that's the methodology too. I think, but just allowing things. It's just before I had to get a timer for my phone to meditate and everything, but that really didn't result into anything. So the more that I kind of like, it's just loving whatever is happening, like, okay, that's great, saying it's just. Or I went to the hospital with my mom the other day, um, and she had to get an MRI, and it's really scary because of the and everything, but I'm just watching, allowing everything as it is. Of course, I'm careful too, like I would wash my hands and everything too, right? And but I think at that time what I did was I was like seeing a movie within a movie within a movie. It was really trippy, just watching, like everybody, it's like there's a new story, what I'm saying, into the story thing. And then it was just great. So observing and allowing things.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Many people will try and do allowing.
Allowing
Really
without
do it.
but without judgment. There's observing and judging everything. Oh, I don't like that person, or what is this person doing? But just becoming an experiencer of things, of being aware of everything, but not allowing the mind to. If the mind judges, that's okay too. But just observing that judgment as well, and you'll see how far this fastest disappears actually when the mind is kind of like chattering and everything. When awareness is there, it's kind of like the mind almost kind of like shuts up a little bit. I don't know if you've had that experience. It's just like, okay,
Yeah.
yeah, because it will chatter. It will say, oh, what is this? Oh, must be, you should not do this, do that, and it's just a whole bunch of conversation, that's occurring in a lot of people's minds, right? But just becoming the pulling back. Um, I really like this movie that it's a really obscure movie called Holy Mountain,
Mm-hmm. Okay.
by Jodorowsky. It's really bizarre. It's one of the most bizarre movies ever. So they have this Christ figure, and he goes through all of these experiences with the world. And I don't really want to ruin it because it's you should watch it. It's really difficult to watch. It's difficult to get, but I'll tell you the ending. Should I tell you the ending? Or maybe
Spoiler alert.
just watch it. Just watch
Yeah,
it.
yeah. Okay.
Maybe that will be good because it's you have to watch it until the ending and just see the ending. It's just like your mind will be like, what?
Yeah,
That's
okay.
that's almost like a methodology or kind of like a practice that I do now. Is that I won't tell you what that is, but yeah, watch it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That's cool. That's cool. What are some common misconceptions and mistakes that people have and make about non-duality, and how can we resolve them?
Um, there's so many misconceptions about my misconceptions before about non-duality is that when enlightenment happens, that it's going to be this grand show, this grand like um, um,
Climax.
climax that will be completely changed. That that it would be like how do you explain it? Like a grand exit or something. Like everything will be solved. It's like a nirvana idea. Like everything
Yeah.
will be perfect from now on. Now, everything is perfect, but the that's also kind of like an idea that you could control outcomes. You can control whatever is happening, but the that you have this kind of like romanticized or fantastical view about enlightenment or non-duality, that the liberation is kind of like you're going to be like laughing like nonstop for 24 hours. In the beginning, it was kind of like when I had with my friend, we just laughed for 2 weeks. We're just like laughing at everything. It was really funny because but it doesn't stay that way. It doesn't stay that way. Not for the whole 2 weeks, right? But it was so great to have somebody else there that had that process of kind of like awareness. So we're just aware of everything. I'm like, you still have it, man? It's like, yeah, I still have it, bro. I'm like, good. I'm like, how do you feel? I'm like, I don't know. And then one day we're just like on the couch watching YouTubes and we're just like laughing at everything. And it was just funny. I'm like, this is just a great joke, isn't it? It's like I can't believe that I didn't get it before. That kind of thing. That's the misconception of it, that it like all of your problems, you don't have to work, you're going to be a guru now, people are going to be kissing your feet, um, you're going to be a great teacher, you're going to be like a messiah. What I'm saying? The ego has this grand ideas about that, when it's almost like a call for normalcy. It's like, get your ego in check, be humble, um, don't have any motives, don't have any agendas. um, when things, for example, some people say that you should, when you receive this information, you should go on the top of the mountain and tell everyone about it. That's great too. If that's what's appearing in your existence, or then do that. I'm saying, if that's what's coming up. And what's coming up is kind of like, for me, for example, when it happened, like I really just like the simpleness of things. I like the normalcy of things, not having followers, or not having, or having being anonymous. And I really like that. It's almost like the opposite of what I thought it would be. I thought it would be like, I'm going to have book deals and I'm going to tour the country. I'm going to talk with the Dalai Lama and Oprah, you know, be featured, and have a discussion with Eckhart Tolle and all of this kind of stuff. And I actually prefer it this way right now. That it's just so real. It's not about looking for a name, or elevating your name, or and I kind of like, I'm grateful that that happened in a micro level for me before. So I had an experience of it, of kind of like people kind of like, listening to your lectures, waiting for your book to get published, all that kind of stuff. And now it's the idea of that kind of like, thinking that, like one day when you get enlightened, or people thought that this character was enlightened before, which was not. What I'm saying? Or this character will never get enlightened. But the awareness that happens after, a dream. It's kind of like a dream. You're like, oh, I get it now, but not like a cinematic, um, kind of like a it's not like a big plot twist. There's a plot twist, but it's not like cinematic. It's more like that TV is great, or that floor. I'm like, this floor is really. It's just simple stuff. It's just God is in every detail, or the awareness in every detail, and it's really humbling that it's in every single detail, that it's in every single fiber, every single molecule, every single quark, whatever smallest particle, cell. It's there, and it's just like, and to the character kind of like sees that if you're part of it, I'm a part of it. This is so fucking ridiculously humbling that this existence, is so that part I really really enjoyed, but it's also really kind of like, it's like humility comes, and um understanding follows. You're like, oh, you feel
To
like almost like it's like you're so it's so like this air, this thing that's happening, you on the screen, this computer, this technology that's happening for us to communicate. Um, and then that's what's grand. But because our mind cannot seem to get that, we have this grandiose ideas about what non-duality is, or what enlightenment is, or what awareness is. I don't think a lot of people know what non-duality is, to be honest. I don't think it's if if a character wants to be like a spiritual teacher, they would not touch non-duality because it has a limited audience, very small audience
yeah,
compared to.
yeah, dude.
I
It's
think it.
funny.
I have a feeling it will increase really really soon. People will
Yeah,
be going to get it. Maybe post Corona, maybe people will start getting it, and people will understand because people are spending more time in isolation. I see people living through Facebooks, like their Facebook account is their whole life. You know what I'm saying? It's like you get the likes and all of this kind of stuff. And I think non-duality is a retreat from that. It's a retreat from a lot of that. Or even, I have respect for, spirituality and religion and all kind of stuff like that. Even spirituality has this grandness about this. Oh, you're a spiritual being. But if you strip away the word spirituality, strip away all of that kind of thing, and then just focus on what's happening and what's being aware, then it's grander than what it is. Does that make any sense?
you
Like,
could
so
explain it in a
sometimes,
different way.
oh, sorry. Sometimes I see people kind of like going on a merry-go-round with spirituality. Maybe if I do transcendental meditation, I'll get there, and then they don't get it. Maybe, and then some people have great experiences with that too. I'm not discounting that, right? Some people do have great experiences, and then maybe they'll jump into, say, yoga. Maybe I'll do Kundalini yoga, for example. Maybe I'll study about the chakras, or maybe, and then they'll get over that, and then they'll go to, maybe we'll go to stones. I think that's great, but it's just an experience. It's also a story.
Yeah,
Yeah. So non-duality is almost kind of like the and I see it's almost kind of like the elimination of those spiritual stories. Does that make any sense?
yeah, yeah,
It's like a
yeah, yeah,
it's almost like a letting go of that.
yeah,
But there's what I'm seeing is, because it's kind of funny. It's like here is a study about, not two, but there's so many different kinds of non-duality. It seems, right? There's so many different flavors of it. There's a
yeah,
non-duality that's kind of like, and I see like some people kind of like, oh, you can't say that, or you can't do that, you can't say this, the Advaita police, or the non-duality police, or kind of like they'll comment on Facebook, that's not right. um the way that I see it is, I see it as one. I see it as no different from another. I like the flavor. Sometimes you like sweet stuff, sometimes you like spicy stuff. It's just really up to your character. But all in all, it's all food. It
yeah.
all nourishes you, right? So I think that um, the misconception that this non-duality is better than this non-duality, this teacher is better than this teacher. It's great, you know what I'm saying, but again, that's judgment, and it's okay, and it's okay. But to be able to say that this is not true and this is right and this doesn't make sense, there's always kind of like a separation thing with that. So that's, I think, is another misconception about a non-duality, is that there's so many different kinds of flavors with it.
And how might we resolve that?
Just allow it. You can't resolve it. Just allow it. Just, taste it. If you don't like it, you don't have to. See, there's other things, right? It's whatever works for you.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Some teachers like Rupert Spira, right? Rupert Spira, and then and that's something that's good. And then there's some other teachers that you're kind of like, I don't get this person at all or what they're talking about, and that's okay too. That's all right too. That's just an expression.
Yeah. So I think spiritual ego is definitely one of the misconceptions and sort of traps of this work. And I think allowing that, right, is because if we fight that, if you notice that in yourself, and you're like, oh, I hate having this spiritual ego, might as well just.
The spiritual ego would not even recognize that they're a spiritual ego. They'll just think that they're enlightened.
Okay.
Yeah, does that make any sense? They won't even recognize it. Does that make any sense? Or did I just complicate things?
So, I'm imagining a person.
Let me give you an example. For example, there's a teacher that had a glimpse of of reality or awareness, and then had that glimpse, and then started teaching it, and it's really great and it's really, really amazing. And then they get caught up with the power of that, and they get caught up with that power, and they get caught up with the and then it spirals down into things, and then it's either the teacher kind of like realizes that they are trapped in this, or they leave, or they discover themselves. Does that make any sense? It's almost like that spiritual ego has to die to be able to rise back from it again.
Yeah.
Sorry. Sorry. That's like, woo.
Well, yeah. Okay. What are some blind spots that you've had, and how did you become aware of them?
Blind spots. Focusing on I can't really. Let me get back to that one. I can't really.
Okay.
Let me get back to that one. The blind spots were almost kind of like getting caught up in yoga kind of thing. Getting caught up in that and thinking that would going all the way, but knowing actually midway that was not it. That this is kind of like this is feeding the ego kind of thing, or this is just my experience. People have great experiences with yoga. That's great. Again, that's I'm not judging or anything like that. This is just an explanation, or kind of like finding that midway through it that I have to find what I'm seeing. It's almost like I have to turn around. This is not it. This is not it. This is not giving me. Or the character, not giving the character what it's seeking. Blind spot would be controlling the outcome of your spiritual seeking.
Yeah.
Kind of like for example, if you think that like this is it, and then you're trying to this is the word, this is the thing. It's kind of like getting close-minded about something that you think that has liberated you, or do you think that you had a glimpse because of it? So you latch on to that. You latch on to that idea, like latch on to, I'm just going to meditate until I reach liberation or reach awareness, reach the absolute awareness, or getting stuck in situations that you should bow out from and just say that, what, I'm going to um, pause for a while rather than kind of like,
Okay.
yeah, I think that's a blind spot.
Let's have a conversation about, like, let's get to know each other a little bit and see how it goes. How
Sure,
the
sure, sure. So how did you
so
get into this,
I'm
David?
okay. So how I got into it
Yeah,
was when I was 14. So I'm 19 now,
that's
and
awesome.
I typed in on Google how to be happy. I didn't actually know, really. I didn't actually know, and I found actualize.org. Do you know
Oh yeah, yeah,
actualize.org?
yeah. I do.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
and so that was back in 2014, and he looks kind of different, even though he looks exactly the same. He's the bald dude, but yeah. And then that bald dude, I subscribed to him, and he just started doing spiritual topics, you
Oh
know.
yeah, yeah.
And so as I kind of grew with him, I grew with each of his
Oh wow.
videos. So he's very advanced right now. It's crazy.
I've seen a
But yeah,
couple of his videos. Yeah. Noel and I were talking about you yesterday. Absolute awareness, Noel.
interest.
Yeah. I'm like, are you also getting interviewed by David? It's like, yeah. And it's just fascinating.
Wow,
We talked when we can, maybe like once a week, and it's just fascinating.
dude,
Yeah, yeah.
he's coming on. He's coming on 2 days from
Okay,
now.
Monday. Yeah, he said Monday.
Oh,
I also sent him the questions that you have, and then he was like, "Oh, this is really thorough. I talk about nothing."
yeah. Hey, let me show you this thing I made, right? Oh
Okay.
my God, you're gonna love this. Okay, so I'm learning coding right now.
Oh wow.
Coding, bang,
Wow.
coding, intense. Okay, and so what I've made here, I'm very proud. My
Okay.
first project, I started literally last week, a few days ago actually. So I'm very excited.
Excellent.
So this this is basically our list of questions. Okay, you probably can't see it, but
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I see it
yeah,
now. Yeah.
these are the quick fire definition questions.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah.
there's all the words, and so basically what I do is what it does is I press run and I press the okay, you can't see it. Let me unblur that. I press run and I press a letter which corresponds to a question.
Okay.
I submit it, and then it gives me thought there,
Oh,
and
I see that. Yeah.
basically let's do a better one because
This is a random generator.
no, it's not.
Oh, it's not.
No.
Okay. Because that would be more
So
non-dualistic if it's random.
wow, dude, this I can't wait to get into it. Like so,
Tell me more about it.
okay, so here's loading. Here we go. So I press the letter
Okay.
and it comes up with duality and any notes I want to have. It gives them there, so I can while
Okay.
I'm interviewing
The
people,
paradigm in
I
which
can
reality is made up of two elements, mind and matter. Excellent. Okay.
and so I can literally just like yeah, I don't have to remember anything for all of it, but yeah, it's like a little prompter.
That's good. That's good. Coding is good, huh?
Yeah, do you do coding?
No, I don't. I don't.
Oh,
I studied Turing when I was younger. I should have continued,
Wow.
tutoring, right? That was like
Yeah.
the old school programming
Yeah.
a long time ago, which is probably, the it's a long time ago. It's like 20 years ago or something. But I think it was not interesting for me. And I'm a big seeker, so I like adventures, and I like it just feels like many different lifetimes now. I have tried almost everything, and that seeking quality, I think it's just led me into non-duality. And the reason I didn't even know what it was, it was just I think about 20 years ago, people didn't really talk about it. It was not you would
Yeah.
hear, you didn't even hear, I didn't even hear about Ramana Maharaj or Nisargadatta. Ramana Maharshi, Nisargadatta Maharaj. Here I'm being a
Yeah,
fanboy
man.
and mixing the names. It's all one anyway. It's the same. Um, but it was really fascinating to me, and it led me to different things. I became a yoga teacher. I became a philosophy teacher, Eastern philosophy teacher.
Holy
Uh,
shit.
yeah, and then I became a DJ, and just uh,
That is
it's just
awesome.
many different things, and it led me to many different like adventures. And I think the question that I had was, there's got to be something more than this. There's got to be
Mm.
something more than this. This can't be it. I think it was a point that I've reached everything that I wanted to do. um, I have a job, a really good job, and I had a house, and I had a partner. And I'm like, is this it? Is this like everything that we work, in our life, we work towards that, and then all of a sudden it still feels really empty. And I ran across this character, ran across a book called A Course in Miracles.
I heard,
Have you
yeah.
heard about that?
Yeah, I haven't read it. But
So A Course in Miracles is a book that was channeled by I might be wrong, but channeled by an atheist psychotherapist. And
okay.
it's basically like, for me, it was like Buddha and Jesus had a book together, and
Wow.
it was like
God.
non-dualistic, right? It's in a Christ consciousness voice. And so that was kind of like my start. The first I think meditation practice was, this is not a chair, so this is not real, basically. And you go through like 365 days of that. And I think I kind of like graduated from that, and then I discovered meditation. Meditation was just, to me, it was really great, but it was also my character trying to meditate. So I would
Mm.
dress up in white. I had this extra room in my house, and I would, it's all white. I had white cushions, white everything, and I had a white orchid, the flowering of my consciousness. I think Eckhart Tolle was
Okay.
in at that time, or it's still in. I don't know.
That's so
And then the moment my dog barked, my dog San Miguel started barking. I'm like, meditating for like an hour, and then my dog starts barking, and I'm kind of like screaming at my dog, I'm trying to meditate here.
Oh, that's funny, man. That
So
is funny.
to make a long story short, meditation didn't really lead me to what people call as awakening or whatever. It was not. It was not it. It was not it for me anyway. There's different, people, different ways that people have this realization. And for me, it was almost like hitting a wall. I was just getting frustrated in my meditation. I started teaching it. I wanted to go deeper. I'm like, what if I become a teacher of meditation? What if I start teaching it? So I think for 40 days, I woke up at like 5 o'clock, started teaching at like 6:30 in the morning. Maybe one person came, five people came teaching meditation, and still nothing happened.
Okay.
And it was just
Yeah.
a seeking and seeking, and it's almost like hitting a wall every time. Like, what if I study the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, which is really great? Do you know the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali?
I don't.
It's 196 aphorisms talking about the mind and liberation, basically. And
Okay.
I started to study it nonstop. I started teaching it, and still nothing. I'm like, what is this? Just getting really frustrated. And then at one point, I think the ego got enlightened, and it was just like a mess. You know what I'm saying? Because I was kind of like what is going on? Like I really, it was you. It's the seeking, the nonstop seeking, the
Yeah.
nonstop seeking that you can like. I gotta get this, and then I would marathon YouTube videos. I
Okay.
encountered actualize.org.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
I encountered Ramana Maharshi. That was really great. I started reading all of the books. I think, and then I started getting Audible. Audible, the audio book.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think I ran out of books that has non-duality. It was not a lot, not a lot in it. So I would kind of like buy, and I'm like, oh, I've read this already. I listened to Adyashanti,
Yeah, yeah.
um, and then I encountered Rupert Spira, which is really great.
Yeah, he's my
Uh,
favorite pretty much.
yeah, he's really great. He
Yeah.
actually started A Course in Miracles too. He started with A Course in Miracles.
Wow.
For one of the talks that I heard that he was A Course in Miracles, I'm not sure, teacher or whatever. Um, so I would just play that, and sometimes I would even sleep. I would listen to Tony Parsons, Jim Newman, listen, and then sleep while it's playing. Like maybe I will wake up and I'll be enlightened. It's just
Oh, yeah.
it's like reading a billion pages and listening to a billion hours and hours, and still nothing happened. And I could not get it. I just no way of getting it. So it just seemed really impossible. I did yoga. I did yoga for like an hour every morning. Nothing happened. I would I did ayahuasca.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
I told you everything. I'm a fanboy.
Yeah,
One of
explorer.
one of the experience that I had was there was this satsang that I went to maybe about 15 years ago or maybe 10 years ago, and I can't remember the speaker, and it was a satsang, and I was sitting there. It was like for 4 hours, and the first 2 hours I'm like, oh, this is so boring. What is this rubbish? This is just like nothing, really, really nothing. And then there was not a lot of people in the satsang, so he did kind of like a one-on-one. So I sat in front of him, and he looked into my eyes, and and I started to, and I started kind of like everything kind of like got brighter. I was present, or whatever you call it.
Wow.
And midway to the break, I asked some of the people, I'm like, did someone put acid on my drink because everything is brilliant right now? They're like, oh, this must be your first satsang. I'm like, yeah. They're like, okay, this is what it is. And then after that, I became kind of like a an enlightened teacher fanatic. Like I would go to satsangs, and I would go to all of these meetings all the time, and still nothing happened. I would have glimpses of it. I've had many glimpses. Have you had a glimpse yet?
Yeah, I think I'd say I have.
Tell us about it.
Um, I mean, like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to, like, I smoked a lot of marijuana, and and I'd feel very spiritual, but there is like the recognition of oneness and shared being,
Hmm.
and that is what I'd say, like the experience that follows that, really. Uh, Also, like logical stuff, like um, if we talk about evolution, uh, everything coming from like the materials that make up this phone all comes from the same earth that this object came from, and just like realizing, oh, there are no two minds here, or yeah, I don't really want to talk about it. I'm not
No worries.
really, yeah, I'm not really sure.
Well, for me, it was one of the big ones. For me was I just did a 200-hour teacher training. I became a yoga teacher. I was all decked up in like I had mala beads and drinking kombucha, and I was dressed up in Lululemon. And I'm like, wow, I'm a meditator. I'm a yoga teacher now. And then I was walking down the street in the downtown east side in Vancouver, where there's extreme poverty. There's like people that are, addictions and homelessness. And I started getting scared. I was like, you know what, someone might rob me. And then I went back to my nice condo, and I thought to myself, like, why am I, after hundreds of hours of studying and meditation, why am I still afraid? Why am I, judging these people because they're homeless? So the next day I came back and brought my dog as, because it's a bit scary. It's a bit scary. It's a lot of, and then I just felt this openness. I saw the people on the
Wait,
street.
can I cut in?
Yeah, go ahead.
What is that fapping sound?
That's my dog.
Okay.
I think he wants to go out.
What's he doing? Is that his tail?
Yeah, he's a part of the story actually. It was just kind of really, really funny.
Yeah.
So my dog, San Miguel, I was watching this dog, and he did not have any preference. He looked at people the same. You know what I'm saying? He can like smiled at everybody, wagged his tail, and I'm like, why can't that be like my dog? And that's when my heart opened up, and I thought that, you know what, that person shooting up heroin is me. That person,
Damn.
that person there, the nun there that's helping these people, is me. The saint, the sinner, the person, and then all of a sudden I was looking like, oh, that's me, that's me, that's me, that's me, that's me, that's me, and I'm like, well, wow, that was like in the most desolate, the poorest place in Canada, perhaps, or North America's poorest postal code in Canada is where I found the oneness, and there was no difference, and then I went on a journey at that time, and became a teacher, and then that kind of like and then again, awakeness, if you don't really it comes and goes sometimes until you finally get it. There's glimpses, right? There's glimpses. So that's one of the glimpses that I've had. And the last one was, it's kind of like almost like, the Lord Shiva, the god of yoga, the
Yeah.
god of destruction or transformation. They said that, like if you are in this path, that it destroys everything. And the most important thing is the ego. So it will destroy your wealth, your everything that you could think of until you get into that point. And then at one point that I was in a place called Haida in BC, I was just all, very isolated place, and very like, maybe this is the place where I'll find it. I've left that teaching. I left becoming a teacher. I wanted to go further, because there's still a seeing. I'm like, this is not it then. So becoming a I went for the selfless service, kind of like karma yoga, where you basically give everything and your time. And then midway through that, I'm like, this is not it, because I thought that by becoming selfless, then you become liberated by teaching, doing all of that, kind of like almost becoming a sage, like but you don't have the foundations of a sage. You're just doing it because you're like, oh wow, this is probably great, you can so that kind of like led me into studying some more. So I discovered Tony Parsons, Jim Newman, Noel, Kyle Hubin, and then I just started kind of like, I said, and then one day, again in Haida Gwaii, I'm like, oh wow, I feel really liberated. Everything, it was just kind of like, I looked around and everything was brilliant, everything was bright, and then that disappeared again. I'm like, what is going on? Why do I? It's like I get it, I don't get it. I get it, I don't get it. I get it, I don't get it. And until one day, and this is just the most random thing. I was DJing with my brother for 4 hours, in his basement, and he went to bed. I kind of like just lying down there, and then my mind just went, what is going on? It just went clear, like no thoughts, no nothing. And I looked at this paint blue, and I'm like, blue is so perfect. Like everything seemed to be in its perfect place. Everything seemed to be, and then I was kind of like really shocked at the humility and the grandness of things. Like I don't know, people will call it like the divine or the sacredness, or I'll just call it or awareness. To me, it's just a beautiful energy that has never left. It has never left, and it's always there, and it never will leave you. It never has disappeared, and then you are that energy. You are not apart from that, and then you realize that you're kind of like just you're in a mushy robot kind of like thing.
Yeah.
Going with the free will thing, right? There's no free will, and it's just an illusion, and everything is an illusion, but it's a perfect, beautiful illusion. So whatever comes my way now is just, I'm like, oh wow, this is, it's almost like saying yes to everything. It's like when it's happening, and like, okay, this is what's happening. Not having
Yeah.
any like judgment about it. There's still some character stickiness sometimes, like there's, and then but that falls away really, really fast. Like it comes up in a while, like like, oh, I don't like this and that, but that doesn't hold on to it anymore. There's a peace that's so deep, that's so unexplainable. It can't be explained in words, really. There's a humility. It's like it's the deepest unconditional love, and there's so much humility in it. It's just so it's so hard to explain. That's what's so hard about this is like I'm writing a book and it's flowing really, really nicely, but talking about it sometimes is just like your how can you explain the unexplainable? How can you explain
Yeah.
something that it's our words are dualistic, right? And you're
Mm.
explaining something that's not is beyond that. So it's beyond words, it's beyond this. It's like this is not really happening. This like your character, my character. It's kind of like think about it as like two holograms. How do you know that your hologram is when another hologram is interacting with you? You can't. Or how come you cannot figure it out that it's a hologram? You're a hologram, I'm a hologram, so I can't figure out that you're a hologram because we're both holograms.
Well, yeah. Yeah, I see.
You know what I'm saying? It's like but when I say in my when I type in my Twitter, it's like trying to subtract what the mind is trying to formulate. The mind is always trying to do something kind of like judgments and explanations, definitions. So if you subtract all of that, if you subtract David and radical non-duality, it's really just nothing. And that nothingness is so beautiful. It's so amazing. When you just open up your eyes, it's kind of like almost like your eyes, like you go back 180 and you're looking at yourself. I really don't know how to explain it. I know that I'm just kind of like going on a tangent right now.
We love tangents. We love it.
But
Okay.
it's let's kind of like so there's no techniques really. There's just right now.
Yeah.
It's inevitable that you will get it. You will get it.
Mm.
No, actually, no, you will not get it. The character David or the character Emerson will not get it, but the part of you that's already aware is always aware. It does not stop being aware. So who's aware right now? Don't think about it. You're thinking about it, right?
Mm.
David is thinking about a clever answer or something when there's just awareness. It's just that it's almost like what's behind. Not really behind even. It's really hard. It's like it's in plain sight. If you look at your surrounding right now, the air, me, it's like there's no subject and object. It's the same thing. Does that make any sense? It's like if you look at the space that's holding right now, that's also you.
God,
Space,
the space.
the space, the air, that's also you. Or if you look at okay, let's there's one that I can like heard. I can't remember who it was, but the concept of time. One talk about time, right? It's an illusion. It's we look at time as increments or events or something. But what if the Big Bang is you? It's just one thing. There's no past, there's no future, there's just this now that's appearing as now. It's just right now. I don't even know how to describe it. It's hard to say it in words, but it's something that once you wake up, you wake up, and you're already awake right now.
Yeah.
You are already aware. I don't even see words like awake and awareness. It just holds so many different meanings, right? But you're just aware, or even saying the present moment or the now or something. It just holds so many different things, and that's not really it. It's not it. What's happening is just what's happening. It's just an allowance of everything that's happening, and that's what I've been kind of like, or I used to hate, I like the western part of Canada because it's warmer. I used to hate like going outside in a -20, walking my dog. And I think about a month ago when I was walking and I was just like feeling all of this nice, it's extremely cold, but it's what is. It's just accepting what it is. Of course, I'm bundled up. I'm not going around in a t-shirt or something, but experiencing that, not resisting it, and it's just being aware of awareness. It's just an experience, and it's a beautiful experience. And I don't even want to put adjectives into it. It's just an experience. Everything's an experience, and words and definitions and thoughts and time, all of this illusory stuff, all of this stuff, or with definitions and stuff, almost is a barrier to it. So when you start taking away all of this stuff and you are just experiencing, then it's just like right now.
It's frozen.
It's frozen again.
Yeah, thought.
So yeah, so for me, like, the meditation and the yoga, like I went through, I'm kind of like one of those people that would seek and seek and seek until, and I have to, it's that the character of me has this tendency to go all the way and then destroy it. You know what I'm saying? If it's not working for me, I'm like, this is not it. It's kind of like, playing like a game. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like, and then you're kind of like, or a video game. Like have you ever played a video game and you're just bored with it and you just kind of like delete it? You're like, I'm done with it.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. This is not it. This is not giving me liberation or something. It's almost like that. And the peace that I find in anything that's happening to me, it's almost like this character wants the extreme things. Like I went from when I was your age, I was into raves, and I would go to raves, back then, and then I went the opposite, in going to kind of like being a vegan and not drinking, not doing anything, sobriety for like 5-7 years. I can't remember how long it was. I don't drink anymore right now too, but if the drink is there, what I'm saying, I don't have any desire for it right now. But if it's there, it's there. Yes, I don't have any more judgments about it. So I would go to the extreme of like being a party animal, and go to the extreme of being kind of like this almost like monk, and living in a life of not doing any of that, and going back and forth sometimes and going between. And now that the seeking is done, like, what if I do this? Will I end up there? What if I do this? Will I get there? What if I seek? But in the character's experience is that the character will just be the character. It's kind of like being in a movie. It's kind of like having two actors. One of the actor knows that they're in a movie. One of the actor doesn't know that they're in a movie.
Yeah. All right. Let's get on with this. Let's do the question.
Okay.
I
Just keep on
warmed
playing.
up. All right. Okay. Yeah. So, just wanna the content of experience. Here I am. What we mean by I is like me and you, like We both say I, don't we?
Yes.
Whose I is it?
Whose
My
I?
I.
There's no I. There's no I. There's no characters. You know, um, there's nothing here. It's just an expression. It's kind of like two holograms talking and expressing. It's just an expression. It's an expression of awareness, an expression of isness. It's what's happening.
Hello everybody, we are back. This is not the start of another video, but the end of this video. We forgot to record an outro. So what do you think about that, Emerson?
It was fun. It was a
Yeah.
long. We covered a lot of stuff. We covered a
Yes.
lot of things, and we covered a lot of things about nothing.
Yeah, we talked
about nothing really. It's fascinating to talk about nothing for a long period of time, and to be able to try to explain something that is not real. It's try to we talked about the mind not being real. Mind is just basically I think it's just an explanation of where thoughts come in and out from. So thoughts are not real, so therefore the mind is not real as well. It also comes in and out.
Yeah,
And
I do.
almost everything, even in a scientific way, everything just comes in and out. And the underlying background behind that, the one that's not knowable, the unknowable, is what is real. Although that's just a thought too.
We could do another 3 hours, can we?
And it's fascinating to talk about non-duality or Advaita, and it's just one of those things that I'm a fanboy of. I really like listening to different authors and video blogs about it. It's fascinating way to explain something that's not explainable, and it's just really a funny kind of like almost it's a funny movie. It's a really funny movie of trying to explain something that is always constant but is not seen. Always something that's almost like a really great fictional manifestation or a really great fictional movie, a play. There's characters like you and me, and we're just reading a script, from our characters. But once the actor or the character can like realizes that, okay, I'm playing a character, then it becomes more interesting. It becomes less dramatic. We get caught up in the dramas, in our thoughts, in our feelings, and once we realize that this is not really happening, nothing is happening. It's just something that is appearing, constantly appearing in and out, kind of like the mind coming in and out, kind of like that song, Where Is My Mind? I actually researched that song, and because I really like the chorus of it. But it was actually from a movie called Trainspotting. Have you seen that?
Oh, yeah, my mum likes that movie.
Yeah,
Trainspotting.
there's a part two actually of Trainspotting, and but I read the lyrics, and it's a little bit fascinating.
Okay.
Just listen to it again. Listen to it again.
Yes.
I do like music, and I like popular culture, and I like applying it to non-duality. It's kind of like that movie Matrix. I think I posted on Twitter. Red pill or blue pill?
It's crazy. It's crazy shit.
Which one? Which one, David? Which one would you take? Red pill or blue pill?
Honestly, well, I think red pill. It's red. But
Neither.
okay, explain then. Explain.
It's just because taking the red pill is also just going to another dream. It's also a dream.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
It's almost picking us and them. The moment that you put people as you and another, then that's a part of that great movie. It's still a part of the movie. So to be able to kind of like watch that movie in red or blue pill, then you just basically watch what the character is picking. It's neither. So don't take pills.
Yeah, don't take pills, kids. Yeah.
yeah, just get clear that this is just a movie. Matrix is just a movie. People take so seriously when they're in that movie that they cannot seem to understand that they're also a character in the movie, that they're the movie. So by opening up, your awareness and realizing that everything is just an illusion, then it becomes more clear. Okay, I'm like, okay, yeah, because there's a lot of I love just going to Twitter and just seeing all of the madness and all of the chaos and
It's
everything and the
crazy, man.
conspiracy theories, and it's just
Yeah.
like really fascinating. It's people take this side or that side, left or right, good or evil. The good people are calling the left evil, and the vice versa. It's the same thing. There's no us and them. Everything is just awareness. Everything is just an experience. Everything is just an expression of what is. It's kind of like awakeness. Awakeness is just constant awakening to whatever is happening, and not judging it as a good or bad experience, but being aware that it's just an experience. We just put labels on things, and I think that's what the perceived mind thinks, is the thoughts. Either kind of like a thought would come in and basically judge that as good or bad, and then but it comes in and out, comes in and out, and so the process of that kind of like constantly going in and out, we call that the mind. And when we in reality, there's no such thing as a mind. It's just a concept. It's just an idea. So anything or everything that's an idea is not real. The real is the background. The real is the awareness that's being aware of itself, and that's what it is. So you're already awake. You're already aware, and it's just that the mind comes in and out and say that no, you're not awake. No, you're awake. It's just in and out. It's just a fluctuation of that. It's like the I think Noel calls it the oscillation, or some other people call this the oscillating. We keep on oscillating in and out. Like I got it, I don't have it. I got it, I don't have it.
Yeah.
But what is trying to what is observing that, or what's aware of that, is already awake all the time. It never ends. It's like a loop of awakeness that's happening over and over and over again. But there's this thoughts that comes in and out. And what our perception of those thoughts are, what's kind of like keeping us thinking that we're not aware yet, we're not awake yet. Meanwhile, we've been awake all this time.
Yeah, man. One of the favorite things you said in the past 3 hours was about the video game, and how like the way to escape the video game of a character to escape would be to realize that he's a character within a video game.
That's right. That's right.
That's crazy.
But that character cannot find that out because it's in the video game. So how do you delete a character? It's just being aware that the character is kind of like still going on with that play, still going on with that game, but aware that it is just a game. It's just a character, and nothing more or less than that.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, that has been a rad episode. Thank you very much, my friend.
Thank you. All right. Thank you, David.